great kid. He's got a great smile. Everybody has become familiar with it. Just remember that. Yeah. Keep it in your head.
It's been 2 heartbreaking months since a 7-year-old went missing.
What do you miss most about seeing him as a mother and father? What do you think about?
Is a very affectionate kid. He has been since he was a baby. Just the random hugs and the sounds and he has a short hair. I always run my fingers through his hair.
He helps me shave my head and likes to rub my head for the 3 or 4 days while it's still short. Going out and feeding the cat together. Our morning walks down to the bus.
Hello, everybody. Good to see everyone. Welcome to Missing PNW Crimes Revisited. My name is Samantha. Today is Kyron Horman's 23rd birthday. It's absolutely heartbreaking to know he's missed out on so much over the past 15 years. Time and memories were taken by Terri Horman, his stepmother, in 2010, and her friend Dede Spicher. The time missed with his family could never be replaced. It's so hard to understand how Terri's hatred and jealousy for a 7-year-old little boy could lead her to planning and executing the unimaginable act of Kyron's demise. Learned by Desiree Young herself, Kyron's mother. Dede Spicher was part of Terri's plan. Dede willingly helped Terri unalive Kyron, and she thinks that she is untouchable because of her immunity deal. With the new evidence found on the burner phones that Terri and Dede used on June 4, 2010, we now know that Kyron left the school with his stepmom Terri on June 4th, 2010 at approximately 8:50 a.m. in the morning. We know that Terri and Dede are responsible for his death, and justice for Kyron has never been served. But that has all changed thanks to the new DA, Nathan Vasquez. New eyes were put on Kyron's case. The FBI is going over the entire case along with the BAU. Multnomah County Sheriff's Office and other agencies are compiling the case to get it ready for court. These monsters will be charged and Dede's immunity will be taken away, as Desiree Young has promised. I'm just absolutely heartbroken to know he would have been 23 years old today. 23. I have missed you guys so much. I haven't done a live in a while. This summer's been crazy for me. Let's see who's here. Welcome in, you guys. Lori Oliver, thank you so much for coming in. She became friends with Terri Horman's ex-boyfriend and was able to go through Terri Horman's computer and help law enforcement receive that computer. Nan is here. Thank you for coming. She's new here to the channel, but not new to Kyron's case. It is so great to see you. Sarah in the house. Hello. I'm taking it Sarah S. Is Sarah suspicious? Shelly is here. I can't believe They can't put the evil stepmother away forever for this. I'll never forget when this happened, and I knew she was guilty at the first press conference. Kyron never deserved this. It's so true. That first press conference, it's written all over Terri's face, the guilt. Well, not the fact that she just looked guilty. She wasn't feeling guilty. She's never shown an ounce of guilt. Kyron will have justice for you and your family. And I do believe that it's coming thanks to the new district attorney, the new eyes on the case, the fact that the FBI is looking at the case, multiple sheriff office agencies in Oregon working together to compile the entire case, to get it ready. You know, Desiree Young said she was going to take that immunity away because it's a state immunity. And now that the FBI is involved, that turns it into something federal, which means that the FBI could take that immunity deal away from Dede Spicher. Nick Sporen from Scotland. Good to see you, hun. Thank you so much for being here. I missed you too, Barb. I really did. I've missed everybody. The summer's been crazy and hectic. We've had illnesses in a few parts of our family, including myself, including my son-in-law, and including my son-in-law's father, who is still in the hospital a month later. Hair curlers and crime in the house. Hello, hello, hello. Thank my beautiful mods for showing up so spur of the moment. I hadn't decided whether or not I was going to do a live on Kyron today. Like I said, things have just been crazy, but there was just absolutely no way I wasn't going to do a live for Kyron on his birthday. I usually do an all-day live. I've decided to not do all-day lives on birthdays, just on the anniversary dates of the child missing, as I did with Michael Vaughn's case on July 27th, as I did with Kyron also on June 4th this past summer. But I am here to talk about Kyron's case, some information, and yeah, we're just going to talk. I've got hundreds and hundreds of videos, and I really want to talk about Dede Spicher, the woman that thinks that she is untouchable, because now she is doing podcasts for a wellness community. I am outraged. I'm outraged that she thinks and has such a huge ego that she could be in podcasts, having people join her on those podcasts. Do those people even know what Dede Spicher's been accused of? What evidence is out there to back up what has been being said about her for 15 years, right along with Terri Horman? I'm absolutely outraged by it. That is my Sarah Suspicious. She had one of her channels taken down. It was crazy. She's trying to get it back up. So Kyron Horman was 7 years old. Let's just put up his picture real quick. 7 years old when he disappeared. His stepmother, Terri Horman, immediately became a person of interest, suspect, the focus, whatever you want to call it. Even though she's never been named a person of interest or a suspect, she has been the main focus for 15 years. Terri Horman got up that morning. So did Kane. Kane said goodbye to Kyron. He was going to school that day to show off his science fair project. And Terri Horman took him to school. They arrived at school. Her and Kyron wandered around the school, looking in all of the classrooms at all of the different science fair projects that were going on that morning. Prior to this, Terri had told Kyron's teacher that Kyron had a doctor's appointment this day, which is an absolute lie. There was never a doctor's appointment. And Terri Horman snapped this picture right here in front of Kyron in front of his science fair project at approximately 8:45 a.m. in the morning. And shortly after that, she walked out of the school with Kyron, seen by Kyron's bus driver, seen by Kyron's best friend, Carson, Carson's grandmother, and Carson's baby sister, walking through the parking lot at Skyline Elementary School to Skyline Boulevard Road that runs east and west, where Terri Horman had parked the Horman truck. There was a reason Terri Horman chose to take the truck that day, when she rarely ever used the Horman truck unless it was to do recycling for their home. She'd also used the truck the day prior to Kyron's disappearance, which is very suspicious. Throughout the evening after the search, Terri then changed her story, told law enforcement no, Kyron's doctor's appointment was for next Friday. Well, Desiree Young, Kyron's mother, signed paperwork allowing law enforcement to look up his doctor's notes. Oh my God, I'm having a brain fart here. Just to be able to open up everything at the doctor's office, they were able to confirm there was no doctor's appointment. And from there, so many lies by Terri Horman. How she left the school, where she was that day. We do know that she left the school, and by 9:12 a.m. in the morning, she had a receipt from a first Fred Meyer's just 10 minutes or so away from the school, and then went to a second Fred Meyer's, telling law enforcement she was looking for medication that was never found. When law enforcement asked her about the items, because there was more than one item bought and purchased at both Fred Meyer's, Terri said, "It's around here somewhere." And that's according to the book Boy Missing, The Search for Kyron Horman, written by Rebecca Morris. She spent a lot of time with Desiree Young, a few years, 2 or 3. And Rebecca Morris wrote an amazing book about Kyron, his disappearance. And we're just going to talk about Terri's lies. We're going to talk about Dede Spicher. In August, just 2 months after Kyron's disappearance, a flyer was made with the Horman truck on it, Terri Horman and Dede Spicher. They were wanting people to come forward and let them know if they had seen these two women together, if they had seen the Horman truck, or if they had seen either of them anywhere doing anything. Desiree Young made a post on Facebook that talked about how two women described as Terri Horman and Dede Spicher were seen on Old Germantown Road, which is near where Dede Spicher worked. Witnesses had came forward and said the two women were passing things from one truck to another, and that there was a lot more out there that Desiree couldn't talk about. But witnesses did come forward about these two women. Terri Horman was also seen on Newberry Road, which is not far from the school, and it's a halfway point between the school and Westwind Farms, where Dede Spicher worked. When Terri Horman was asked what she was doing off of Newberry Road, she said, "I must have been changing the baby's diaper." Well, I'm a mother. I'm a grandmother. I would have remembered if that's what I was actually doing, was changing a baby's diaper or not. I think it's very interesting that it just happened to be between the school and Dede Spicher, since both women were missing for the same unaccounted time that morning. Also, let me get here. I want to take down a couple of things from my studio already. You know, law enforcement has been accused of focusing on Terri so much that they didn't they didn't do anything else. They didn't focus anywhere else. I mean, that is absolutely ridiculous. They looked into all of the registered sex offenders in the area. Multnomah County Sheriff's Office was responsible for the search. That's who took on this case. They were also a search and rescue sheriff's office. They had a team called the Green Hornets that they worked the Willamette River up and down, part of the Willamette River, hiking in areas like where Multnomah Falls is and all the hiking trails that go way up. They were dedicated to finding people when they were missing and lost, and they were the perfect sheriff's office to have on Kyron's case. I'm very thankful that they worked and are still working very hard on Kyron's case. Rhonda, good to see you. Yes, both women are evil. A lot has been said over the last couple of years. As you can imagine, a mother, Desiree Young, for 15 years, frustrated that nothing's being done. She knew right from the get-go that Terri had something to do with this, because Terri was messaging her and sending her emails and doing things out of the ordinary for their relationship, because they did not like each other. They did not like each other at all. Terri was Kane's mistress before Desiree and Kane split up. She was pregnant with Kyron. Now, I'm not putting any blame on Kane whatsoever. Kane is a father. He is also missing his son. He's an amazing man who has made mistakes. And I'm sure the guilt that he speaks of, even to this day, is the guilt that he has for, one, being with Terri, and two, never seeing the true monster inside of Terri Horman. Now, Nathan Vasquez. I'm going to just play a couple things for you here. Hold on. Terri told so many different stories. So many different stories. She lied and lied and lied. Somewhere that way. Like I said, in the very beginning, Terri Horman's stories were not jiving with police. This is another interview with Desiree and Kane on the Oprah Winfrey Show, also talking about Terri, her lies, her timelines. Terri Horman had to sit down at a computer. Desiree Young caught her sitting down at a computer writing out her timeline. After she hasn't been able to explain to the police where she's at, she's caught writing out a timeline. Who needs to sit down and write out their timeline?
Become suspicious of her.
First polygraph results came back. She was very vocal with everyone in the entire house about how it went, how that she failed. And then the actions after that, and the discussions that we had trying to understand what happened that day, she would change her story daily, if not more than that. I mean, every time you talk to her, it was a little bit different about, well, here's what happened that day. And it, you know, you kind of look at her going, you know, we have a major crisis here and you don't even have a story that's believable at this point.
Terri Horman changed her story sometimes multiple times a day. A person that has nothing to hide, who is not guilty of something that people are already suspecting her of right from the get-go, don't lie about where they were, what they were doing. It's common knowledge for anybody in the crime community. We all know it. If a, you know, and you are a step parent, you already know a child has came up missing. Kyron is missing. Who are the police going to start looking into? The parents, the step parents, people that were around him. They were able to check off Desiree because she was in Medford, Oregon, almost 5 hours away, working. So was her husband at a retreat, not working, which her husband is also a police officer and a detective. He's retired now, but then he wasn't. They were able to, you know, mark off Kane, but they were not ever able to mark off Terri because of her constant story changing, because of the things that she was doing. Terri also, from the very beginning, had her own suspects. She was trying so hard to convince everybody and come up with her own narrative of what had happened to Kyron. That he had walked away from the school, that he was taken by a man that was recently at the 7-Eleven store asking where the nearest schools were. The janitor at the school, the groundskeeper at the school, joining multiple Facebook groups that were supporting her, pushing her narratives, getting on to the news channels, comment sections, leaving comments, and never once ever did Terri Horman beat feet to put out flyers or search for her stepson Kyron. Ever. Her and Desiree took a trip in a van to the press conference. One of the first press conferences. Desiree's looking out the window. Her eyes are going everywhere. You know, she is looking for Kyron anywhere on the way to the press conference. Terri Horman looked at her. What are you doing? I'm looking for Kyron. And Terri found that ridiculous. Who would find that ridiculous? Your eyes would never stop searching as you're driving. You would constantly be looking for your child. Just looking through my files because I want to. In recent interviews, or actually it was the Northwest Crime Fest, there was something said by Desiree Young. This was not this last summer in 2025, but in 2024, because Desiree got so frustrated, she started releasing information. She's like, you know what? If law enforcement isn't going to do anything, if I can't find a district attorney that's going to do something, then I'm just going to start sharing little bits of information during this crime fest, or like when she went up on Doug Bishop's show and he interviewed her, and she talks about evidence and a picture that was found on the burner phones that Terri and Dede had the day that Kyron came up missing. The cell phones, these burner phones, were destroyed by Dede, she thought, threw into a field. And later on, Dede took law enforcement to these burner phones, and law enforcement has had them this entire time. But somewhere within the last few years, they were able to use new technology to be able to get information from these burner phones. Thank God. Which puts Terri and Dede directly involved in Kyron's disappearance and murder. Let's see what she has to say here at the Crime Fest.
Have evidence in the truck, the bed of the truck.
She's saying they have evidence in the truck, that there's DNA evidence in the truck. Again, this is the Northwest Crime Fest in 2024.
Physical DNA evidence. We have things missing from the house that she used.
Things missing from the house that Terri used.
We have the injury to her leg.
We have an injury to Terri's leg, or she says her leg. So Terri Horman went to the gym the day that Kyron Horman came up missing. A witness came forward and let law enforcement know that they had saw Terri at the gym and noticed a, quote, gash on Terri Horman's leg. A gash. When I hear the word gash, I see blood, cut, deep, something, right? It's not a scratch. It's not a bruise. But when this person at the gym asked her what happened, she said she dropped a weight on her leg. Well, law enforcement found it, to be very untruthful. I mean, you drop a weight on your leg, you're going to get a bruise. You're not going to get a gash. 24-hour fitness at the time, they're not going to have weights that if you drop them on them, are going to end up gashing you. Right? So she's saying that this gash on Terri's leg is part of evidence.
From that day, we know that we have photos on those cell phones.
We have photos on those burner phones. Photos. Now, in the background, you will hear Rebecca Morris, the author of the book Boy Missing, The Search for Kyron Horman, in the background, ask Dede pictures after the school, and Desiree answers, yes, I have confirmed this with Rebecca Morris. She's in my Facebook group for Kyron. The name of that group is Kyron Horman Case Revisited. If you don't know this case, there's all kinds of information. You can, go over there, look through the group. It's an insane amount of information there. And since Kyron's case has so many layers and layers and layers, and there's been so many rumors in Kyron's case spread by Terri Horman and Dede and their supporters, that there's so much information debunked and everything. But here she is, Desiree, talking about the photos being taken off of the burner phones.
We have the picture of it.
And she says, we have a picture of it. Now, we don't know what it is. Is it the location? Is it, a hole that they saw that is buried that was taken a picture of? I don't believe it's a picture of Kyron dead, simply because if that is true, they would have already arrested Dede and Terri. Okay. We don't know what it is. I really wish I did, but I don't. But she says we have a picture of it. And somebody that advocates for Kyron Horman Her name is Stacy. She runs another group on Facebook. She's close with Desiree Young, and she is constantly asking Dede and Terri where they buried Kyron. I'm a little bit assuming that maybe this picture is the spot where he was buried. I could be wrong because she directly mentions a location here.
We don't know where that picture was taken.
We don't know where that picture was taken, but we do know, because law enforcement has talked about how they're using GPS technology, you know, and the different kind of graphing that you can use to search in specific areas. So since we know, since this information from these burner phones has been found, we know that there are also been recent searches as recent as last summer, and probably many more, because Doug Bishop is looking for Kyron. Doug Bishop is working with Desiree Young. I see everybody in here like, Doug is such a great soul. Doug is amazing. He really is. I got a chance to meet him. He is focused on helping Desiree find Kyron. He's been looking in the Columbia River, from what I understand, over off of Savia Island. He talks about that immunity deal, which we'll get to here in a minute, but he is so focused in helping Desiree. He has interviewed Desiree. He does all kinds of things. He was actually here at the Northwest Crime Fest, posted about it. He has talked about Kyron several times. When he was part of Adventures with Purpose, he already had searched the river once for Kyron and found a wagon that ended up having nothing to do with Kyron. So I just feel so good about him being part of this case. His heart and soul's really into it.
The picture of Kyron after the school?
Yes.
That right there was Rebecca Morris asking a picture of Kyron. Let's go back a little bit. You'll hear.
Picture was taken.
The picture of Kyron after the school?
We don't know where that picture was taken.
The picture of Kyron.
That was her right there, a picture of Kyron. I don't know if you guys can hear it. It was very hard for me to even be able to make this video clear.
That picture was taken.
The picture of Kyron after the school?
Yes.
A picture of Kyron after the school. Do you guys realize how telling that is? Terri Horman has denied ever taking Kyron from the school, but yet here's a picture of Kyron on burner phones her and Dede used, which would prove, since she went from her house directly to the school, that a picture of Kyron taken that day, the day he came up missing, had to have been taken after he left the school. And since there are witnesses that say they saw him leave with Terri, they weren't holding hands, they weren't doing anything. He was following Terri and his baby sister to the truck that was parked on Access Road in front of the school. Law enforcement had also put out in the very beginning that witnesses came forward and said someone had been in or around Terri Horman's truck. They never said whether it was a man or a woman. I think they did that on purpose. They were looking for other witnesses to support the current witnesses saying that someone was in or around. I've heard Desiree and Kane both say that they believe there could be a third person, although it's never been proven and talked about. We know that Terri Horman failed 2 polygraphs and walked out on a third. We know that Terri Horman tried to have Kane offed with murder for hire plots 3 different times by 3 different men, and one of them was leaked. And that's the landscaper that came to their house that you hear about in Kyron's case. So there wasn't just one, there were 3. And I have heard that and seen those posts by Desiree Young on Facebook. I have all of this information to back it up. I have the receipts. It's all in my Kyron Horman Case Revisited group. I want to run through as much information as I can for you guys while I'm speaking tonight, so I'm not gonna keep looking for all that information and, you know, putting it up. But how very telling is that? And then you also have the fact that let me see, Terri Horman, hold on one second. Desiree Young talks about it at the Northwest Crime Fest that Terri Horman washed every stitch of clothing. You heard me right.
First night.
Every stitch of clothing. We're talking everything in his dresser, everything in his closet, all of his bedding, everything in his room was washed. One of the biggest mistakes made by law enforcement was allowing so many people in and out of that house. Desiree explains here why it's so important about the clothing.
We brought in several canine teams and had searched the house. This is super critical, especially in a missing child case, to search the house as a secondary scene. And here's some of my law enforcement coming out, so sorry to bore you with the dry details. But you'll lose critical pieces of evidence if you don't investigate that house and search it many times. So here's a lesson learned, right? They didn't get on Terri right away. This is what's unusual. Terri had washed every stitch of clothing Kyron ever owned. Everything. All of his bedding, all of his clothes, his backpack that was at the school, washed. His coat, washed. All piled up on his bed. Not folded, but washed. Now.
Like, what the hell? Terri has washed his backpack that was up at the school because she went up to the school. She had to go up there. Her and Kane went up there when, you know, Kyron didn't get off the bus. They had all walked down. Kane, Terri, and the baby walked down to the bus. And it was the substitute bus driver, not the one that had seen him that morning. And I don't know to this day if Terri and Kane always went down to the bus together. I've always wondered that. Kane makes it sound like he went down there to meet him all the time when he was home. And Kane was home quite often because he would work from home, work in the mornings, come home. I mean, he was home a lot. He worked for Intel, still works for Intel, and could do that. And at one point, Kyron Horman said they were on their way down to walk to the bus, and Terri said, "I'll be right back." And she went up to the house and then came back. The bus pulled up and Kyron wasn't on the bus. They immediately, you know, got into the vehicle, went up to the school. And while they were there getting questioned, looking for Kyron and everything else, Terri took it upon herself to make sure to grab the backpack and the coat, took it back and washed it. His clothes were washed. His bedding was washed. Nothing was folded. It was just all piled up on his bed. Yes, Sarah, she got rid of the scent. Lori, good to see you, hun. So, I mean, it's so very suspicious to know that happened. Who did that? Get rid of Kyron's scent. And yes, they were able to use dogs later after they could find, like, probably use shoes or a brush. I constantly ask, well, they didn't take away all of the scent. Well, guess what? The things that had the most scent on them, his bedding, his clothes, were washed. It was a way. And what was with washing the backpack and coat too? He had taken them to school that day. They were left at school that day on purpose. Terri wanted to make sure that his coat and backpack were there. So when law enforcement said something to her about Kyron missing, well, his backpack and his coat were there at the school. I left him there. That was her already spinning the narrative, already doing her planning, making sure Kyron's backpack and coat were at school so she could later on mention it. But it all fell apart. Everything, because she just kept getting caught in all of her lies. She's a manipulator, and she did not think she was going to get busted in her lies.
The canine teams are looking for a scent article. Right? Yeah. That's why that's critical. You gotta lock down the house right away. You've gotta search it. You don't let people in there to mess with your scene. It made it very challenging for us. We've even gotten heat in the media because of it, because one of these independent guys wanted to help us and bring out dog teams. Well, we weren't against it. We didn't have anything to give him. We had no scent article.
It is just absolutely outrageous. Let's switch our focus over to Dede Spicher, the woman who ends up getting immunity. Okay, state immunity. Doug Bishop does talk about that immunity going to be taken away, but Dede Spicher has been quiet. She stays out of the, talk, the media and everything else until here recently on platforms, doing podcasts, working at a hospital, doing podcasts for wellness, for bariatric surgery that she had in 2018. Her feeling like she's untouchable is really starting to show 15 years later. And it's insane what I'm going to show you guys here shortly about what she said on one of those podcasts about feeling guilty about your future, about your past. Oh my gosh, it's just crazy. But let's listen to what Doug Bishop says about Dede Spicher's immunity that will not stand, in my opinion.
FBI, yes, they are always involved peripherally on cases, but they are digging their feet in on this case. Mm-hmm. Did you know about this? I'm sure you did. And give us some thoughts about where that investigation's at.
Yeah, last year, you and I got together when we put out the Kyron Horman documentary that I did with Kyron's mother. We kind of put out some information that had never been put out so that we could publicly and tactically put pressure in places that it needed to be. It's a very shocking case. And we also had an incumbent district attorney that was, preaching a good preach about what he was and wasn't going to do, which a lot of politicians, when they're in office and running for office per se, they all talk a good game. But when you get into office, does that follow through? A lot of them get into office, they have good intentions, but they get into office and they realize can't really do that, or it's not really designed for this to play out like I intended it to. There's rules where I didn't know there was rules, or there's all of that bureaucracy. But this individual, Nathan Vasquez, was elected. His support got him elected, and he's changing things. He's been very invested into following through. He has been following through, and that has led to what you're discussing. I can't disclose too much, but they're on everything. And there should be some results that have come through this year. Of what they are, obviously nobody knows, but they're long overdue. It's one of the most controversial cases in the country, with an overwhelming amount of evidence that is just absolutely shocking. And
an overwhelming amount of evidence that is shocking. Doug Bishop, he has all the licenses. He has searched for all kinds of missing persons. I am sure he has been able to look at the case, see evidence and everything else. I think so. Don't quote me on that. I don't know that for 100%, but it damn sure looks like, or he has talked to Desiree to find that information out and seen whatever Desiree has, because we know she works with the law enforcement, teaches law enforcement now. since Kyron's came up missing. She has dedicated her life to help find other missing people and tells Kyron's story everywhere she goes.
Yeah, there's the FBI is involved, and they have to be. You know, that case gave out a pretty reckless immunity on a state level, immunity deal, which, you know, doesn't count on a federal level. So when the feds are involved, that's a good thing.
Do you hear that, Dede Spicher? Because I know you and Terri watch. That immunity deal means nothing on a federal level. I honestly believe that your ego will be shattered. Your untouchable attitude will eventually be locked the F up. You are going down, Dede. I honestly believe her and Terri, after talking to Desiree Young at Kyron's vigil on June 4th this last summer, and talking with Doug Bishop, when Desiree Young isn't doing a fundraiser for her son anymore to raise money to find her son, number one, that tells me she really believes that Kyron is no longer with us. Number one. Number two, believes that the effort going forward, that charges are going to come, is going to happen. When I talked to her about the case and just mentioned to her, like, wow, it just really seems like things are moving in this case. The look on her face, the things she said to me really made me feel like so much is happening in the background, which we now know. The FBI, the BAU, everybody working together to get this case compiled together, ready for court. The behavior analysis team being involved is because this is a no-body case. They have not found Kyron's body. So the BAU being involved and being able to go over Terri and Dede's behavior, the things they did, they said, and go with that and the evidence, it's going to play a huge role, especially now since no-body cases are there are convictions going on. There are people being charged. There are people being arrested for crimes, even though there's no body. We have seen that in many cases over the last few years. Harmony Montgomery being one of them. Her dad is locked away for her murder. I absolutely love that Doug Bishop's on this case. I just do. And after talking with him and Desiree, I really feel like things are going to be moving. I know that Nathan Vasquez said that an update was going to be coming this fall. Heidi, my admin on my Facebook group, said she thought that he said September. So maybe there'll be a new update on whatever's going on. You know, maybe everything's getting compiled. And that's what we're going to find out, that is compiled, that it's done, and that, you know, everything's now being handed over. If not, things being handed over once certain things are being compiled. I don't know how that's going to work, but the FBI is going to be looking at the entire case. And in 2011, we talked about the room that had 4-inch binders. Like over 50 or 60 4-inch binders full of evidence and information and interviews and tips and everything that they had on Kyron. And then add another 13 years of that worth more investigating. I can't even imagine how big his case is to have to compile it and put it together. Now, when I talked to Detective Tabor, the man that is on Kyron's case, the detective, he told me that when he started Kyron's case, it was a mess. that it had went from a paper case into the computer. Nothing was logged right, put in there. It was just all shoved into the computer and nothing was put in files and everything. And he was already trying to compile it and get it, you know, all put together. So I'm sure that's all part of this compiling process that they are doing.
It's always a good thing.
Good for numbers, and it's good for coming in, and I don't want to say playing cleanup. I mean, sort of playing cleanup, like as in a batting order, you know, coming and looking at what's done, and then hopefully hitting the home run at the end, because Kyron deserves justice. His family deserves justice. And, you know, quite frankly, there's a great subject and there's a lot of evidence, and let's just hope that, you know, the home run is hit soon.
Subjects, multiple.
Do you guys notice that? Subjects. She says subject, meaning Terri Horman, and he's saying subjects. That in itself right there is so telling, because, you know, they're going after both of them, if not a third person that's just never been leaked out. Good to see you, Chaos Queen. Thank you for coming in. So yeah, I'm super excited. You know, it's been 15 years. Kyron would be 23 years old today. It's just absolutely disgusting that these two women have gotten away so far with this, but they're going down. I mean, how often do you see somebody actually not get arrested for a murder these days? I mean, it could be 15 years later, 20 years later, 30 years later, 60 years later. We see it happen all the time. Crime junkies out there, right? Seeing information out there. Somebody has been found years and years and years and years later. So no matter how long it takes them, they will make arrests in Kyron's case. I wholeheartedly believe it, and it's about damn time. Desiree Young posted today. Desiree Young posted today on her Facebook about Kyron's birthday. Just so very heartbreaking, you know, to see. She says, "What do you say after 15 years missing, and my son is now 23 years old? Although I just can't believe how fast our kids grow up, I'm missing that part of my Kai's childhood, teenagehood, and adulthood. All the moments we have missed out on, all the milestones that haven't gotten to share with him, all the tears, laughter, and joy that has forever been silenced for my Kai. Our pain never goes away. Our tears never stop. The depth of what has been taken from us just keeps going year after year. It never gets easier. I love you, Kyron. Today, I light a candle for your birthday because I know you see all that I do for you. I will never give up until I bring you home. I miss you every day." And Desiree, if you're listening, our hearts here at Missing PNW are with you, with Kane, with your entire family, with Kyron's siblings, praying and hoping to God that justice comes very soon, that answers are answered for you and the family. It's absolutely heartbreaking to know 15 years later, and the whole time we've all known who is responsible for Kyron's disappearance. If you have any information about Kyron Horman, please report it to the tip line. He came up missing June 4, 2010. If you have any information, please let us know. Call the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office tip line at 503-988-0560. Again, that tip line for Multnomah County Sheriff's Office is 503-988-0560. No tip is too small. Let law enforcement decide if your tip is credible or not. Maybe you still have footage from that area, whether it's Sauvie Island, near the school, on any of the roads that's ever been mentioned by law enforcement, please turn in that footage. Call law enforcement, 503-988-0560. Detective Tabor is who works Kyron's case. He would love to hear from you. He's a great man, and there's no reason to be scared of him. He's absolutely amazing. What I want to know and what I can't figure out, you guys, is here we have Terri Horman and Dede Spicher both working in the medical field, taking advantage of weak people. Terri Horman's been known to steal things from places where she worked with the elderly, known to scam, get money, receive money from people. And now we have Dede Spicher. Are you friggin' serious? Dede, this is new information, guys. This is not information we have had. This is new information given to me by people in my community on the Kyron Horman Case Revisited page or Facebook group. And we're shocked. We're shocked not only that Dede Spicher works at a hospital, but that she has became somebody who's working for Valor, who is also doing retreats for a wellness center for her bariatric surgery. It's insane. She gives testimony for Valor about it. It's the first time when I heard this, it was the first time I had ever heard Dede Spicher's voice, and she already creeps me out. And if you guys don't know it, as far as I understand it from what Desiree and one of her advocates say, is that Terri had Dede Spicher unalive Kyron. So, hearing her voice after knowing this whole time, me feeling like Dede was key here, hearing her voice just creeped me out. I'm going to add this to the stage real quick. This is Valor. Your healthcare organization deserves a committed, supported vendor when revamping prior authorization management process. At Valor, we value your success. Hear from Dede Spicher at Skylake, that Skylake is a hospital, Skylakes, as she shares what she values most about her partnership with Valor. That's a picture from her podcast.
I can reach out to them with anything. I feel like they want the same things. They want us to be successful, genuinely. They want the frontline workers to love the product. They want senior management to go, hallelujah, how could we not have done this sooner?
There were people, thank God, I'm going to pause right here. Thank God I know. Dede Spicher hates it when we find out where she's at, what she's doing. Someone in our Facebook community posts this up. And of course, so many people that believe Terri and Dede had something to do with it. There were comments in the comment section. Thank God I took a screenshot and a screen recording of this because I knew it would be taken down. And in our Facebook group, you click on the link and nothing was popping up. So I don't know if Valor took it down or if Dede Spicher took it down. But could you imagine being a company wanting Dede Spicher to come over and give testimony about how you're using Valor for your work, and you don't even know that she's been a main focus a suspect, a person of interest of law enforcement in the disappearance and murder of Kyron Horman. She's got immunity, okay? You don't get immunity unless you have information to give law enforcement. And how do you have that information if you're not guilty of anything, Dede? We know that you have helped Terri unalive Kyron. And I hope one of these days we're going to be able to see you two in court and try to explain away what you have done. And guarantee you, Dede, Terry's going to throw your ass so far under that bus, you're going to get run over 1,000 damn times, okay? If you think that she isn't going to tell law enforcement everything you did, you're wrong. That's why she used you. You loved Terri. You were in love with Terri. Desiree has said it time and time again. And Terri, like she always does, used her sexuality and knew that you loved her and got you to do the dirty deed, just like she did with all of those people for the murder for hires of Cain, using her sexuality to get these men to do something to Cain, and that didn't work. So she moved on to you because you were in love with her. And you did it. You did exactly what she wanted so that because she knew if anything ever come down on her, I'm just going to tell law enforcement everything Dede did. It was Dede's idea. Dede did it. Dede is all she is going to do when this goes down. I would seriously contemplate talking to your attorney and coming forward with any other information that you have, Miss Spicer. Dede Spicer, I saved my own life and I want to help others do the same. I had bariatric surgery in 2018 and have completely changed my lifestyle to make the very most. Give me a break. By the way, Dede Spicer lives in Klamath Falls, Oregon, and if you see her, ask her where she buried Kyron. Okay? Ask her where she buried Kyron. That is a picture taken from her podcast. And podcast, people. She is using YouTube. Go to her YouTube channel and ask her where Kyron is. Let me share my screen real quick. Coming after you, Dede. I'm sickened, you guys. I'm absolutely sickened that she's working in the healthcare system. I'm absolutely sickened that she has now, after 15 years, decided that it's okay and that her ego's so big and she thinks she's so untouchable that she can use big social media like YouTube to talk about this, to have people on her channel and talk to them about bariatric surgery, to talk to them about their testimonies or whatever. Do those people that come on her show know who she is? Know what her involvement has been in Kyron Horman's disappearance? I think not. This is the Wild Rebel Wellness. Wild Rebel Wellness. Dede Spicer herself is running this. When you click more, here is the description. I'm Dede, National Board Certified Health and Wellness Coach. Who wants to be coached by Dede Spicer? Not me. A retreat leader. She throws retreats, has people come to these retreats where, by the way, they have to pay thousands and thousands. I mean, one room for one of these retreats was over $3,000, you guys. She's making money off of people. She's making thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on these retreats. And a proud bariatric surgery success story. In 2018, I made my life-changing decision to undergo vertical sleeve gastrectomy, whatever. I can't even say the word. After years of struggling with my weight, health, and sense of self-worth. That decision sparked a total transformation. Over 120 pounds lost and a life reclaimed through holistic healing, emotional work, and radical self-love. Yeah, you would have to do some pretty oh my God. I can't, you guys. I'm so floored. You guys are literally getting my first reactions of any of this because I just found out much of this information today. I knew she was doing the Wild Rebel Wellness. I had no clue she was doing podcasts till today. I am floored. I'm pissed because she's taking advantage of people. That's what her and Terri do. They take advantage of people. And they're always both about the money. And she has to do stuff online because she can't do anything anywhere else, right? We always find out where she's at and what she's doing. And, well, that doesn't work out for her. I can't even believe she's still working at the hospital. Anyway, emotional work. Of course, she has a lot to that to do. Radical self-love. Well, how much do you love yourself after you bury a child, a 7-year-old little boy named Kyron Horman Dede? Welcome to my channel and the Wild Rebel Wellness Podcast. This podcast is for anyone considering or navigating bariatric surgery. I am a murderer of a 7-year-old little boy. Did you know that? I mean, I just want that in her description. It needs to be in her description. And especially for those ready to rebel against diet culture, shame, and isolation. So far, all of these words work with the fact of who she is, what she has done to Kyron. Each week, I sit down with successful long-term maintainers, medical experts, coaches, and mindset masters to explore what really helps people thrive before, after, and during the healing journey. Topics range from bariatric surgery, inspiring success stories, holistic health tips, and beyond. Are you ready to join the wellness rebellion? Are you ready to join in with a murderer? Come on, you guys. Oh, for F's sakes. I just can't. I can't. I gotta stop this and I gotta go over here and see what you guys are saying. Because this is crazy. Why can't I see my comments? Hello? Oh, gosh, what are you guys saying? This is outrageous. It is outrageous. Wow, that's shocking. Oh my God, you guys. I can't. Dede has to feel relevant in her life, right, Lori? I'm floored. I'm shocked. I'm pissed. I can't. I'm so outraged. I'm sick to my stomach today. I've been sick to my stomach all damn day. Her ego, her constant, feeling like she's untouchable because of this immunity is just, These two make me furious. Such scammers, in my opinion. You are so right. She is a cult leader. Oh, that's perfect. Hair curlers and crime. Hallelujah. Thank you. She is. She's a cult leader. It just makes sense. Oh my gosh. Just cult leader. Hello. Oh, easy to manipulate for Terri. Count your days. You're both cooked. She wants to help save people, but couldn't help save, rescue, recover Kyron. Exactly. And maybe she wants to help people because she's thinking that all of this guilt that she has, all of this stuff inside, maybe Does she have any guilt? I don't freaking know. I mean, really, if she had any guilt, maybe she would just come forward and say where they buried Kyron, right? But does she feel like if she helped people in their lives, that makes her a better person because she knows she's evil? Pure friggin' evil. I'm going to do a whole live on her with all kinds of information. I'm done. Done, Dede. You're going down. Go over to the Wild Rebel Wellness on YouTube. Look for her profile and ask her where Kyron is. Just do me that favor. If you love me, please do it. If you do it for Kyron, okay? Because people need to know who she is. And if you want, let her know that we know who she is. I'm going off on it. Dede, you're going to get mangled by that bus. Oh, yeah, she is. Terri Horman is going to throw her under the bus so damn fast she ain't even going to know what the hell to do. I have to show you guys something else, too. Let me get this to where I want it real quick. Hold on. My admin from Facebook watched. First of all, she has 16 podcasts. We had no idea she was doing podcasts. She's been doing it for months. Okay. Second of all, she's boring. They're long. You can't even stay I haven't had a chance, by the way. 16 of them. You can guarantee I'll watch them all. My admin found a little part in one of her podcasts that I'm about to play, and it's shocking what she says, first of all. But we're going to have to go over and we're going to have to go through all the videos, and we're going to have to do what we do, which is research, which is find her using her words, her own words against her for what she has done, right? Let me share my screen here. I am worked up, you guys. I am so worked up because I am just so outraged. Okay. So this is Dede Spicher now. Let's just listen to a little bit of this podcast, okay?
Then you work your way down. And that really helps us get out of our head and into our body. When our head is so full of thoughts that we can't think straight, and it makes us worried, or
when our head's so full of thoughts and we're worried. What you worried about? What are your thoughts about every day, Dede? How do you sleep at night? Does your mind race all the time and keep you up all night long, give you anxiety because you can't stop thinking about what you did to Kyron?
distracted or whatever. But to get into our bodies and using our 5 senses to experience, this is the thing that is happening actually for me in my body right.
She's saying right now what's happening for her in her own body right now.
Now, the thoughts in our head are usually future thinking, worrying, anxiety about future things.
Future things are coming, and I bet you 100%, Dede, you are thinking about them because that immunity deal is going to get taken away from you, and you know you're going down. Is that the future thinking that you're thinking about?
Worst case scenario thinking, all of that, or rehashing stuff from the past, whether it's a sadness, a guilt of a thing that you did and wish you hadn't.
A guilt of something you did and wish you hadn't. Are you serious? Are you guys hearing this? she said this is stuff that she's been feeling within herself right now. A guilt. Are you serious?
A betrayal. All of those things are real, and you can't do anything about them right now. The future hasn't even happened yet. We like to prepare for it if we can. But
is that her innuendo? I am preparing for what's to come. Terri, or Dede, I mean, are you preparing for the future? Do you have guilt for something that you did that you wish you hadn't? I'm floored. I'm just floored by it all.
what's real right now? It's most helpful to get into that. Get into our body. Breathe. Notice our breath. Experience your 5 senses.
I can't, you guys. She is really, really doing podcasts, wellness podcasts, giving people advice on how to manage their feelings. Are we friggin', I can't. This is so disturbing to me that she's out in the public eye doing things like this. Yeah, no remorse whatsoever. Shocking. This is outrageous. This is all. She will come out with the same multi-level marketing scheme with products, supplements, next bet. You know what? There were so many links put by the other advocate on Facebook. She put a bunch of different links, and I think she's already on like products and supplies. Yeah, I'm going to be digging into this so much. Oh, pretty assessor. She has been at me to go live and tell me that she misses me all the time. Yes, Kyron's 23rd birthday. It's so, it's heartbreaking to think that we're here 15 years later, to think that he would be 23, from a 7-year-old little boy to 23 years old. His life taken because of jealousy, because of hatred. How could you have so much jealousy and hatred for a 7-year-old? I don't get it. Yeah, she is. She's gross. Won't be my only visit to her videos. Oh, yeah. Blow it up. Ask her where Kyron is. Let everybody know that she's been the focus in the Kyron Horman case, his disappearance, his murder. Let everybody know that she led law enforcement to the burner phones she thought she had destroyed. Yeah. It's all true. Yes, Beverly, pure evil. Thanks for coming in, you guys. Pretty assessor, it's so good to see you. I'm blown away, you guys. These 2 women harmed a 7-year-old little boy. Kyron Horman has been missing for 15 years. Just like the name of this show. We're still asking where's Kyron on his 23rd birthday. I'm heartbroken for the family. Just absolutely heartbroken. I also got sent this by a member in our Facebook group. She walked straight up to Terri in Lakeport, California. This is a Lakeport Safeway in a parking lot. This person goes up to her and asks where Kyron is. But my question for you, Terri, is why are you shopping at the Lakeport Safeway 26.3 miles away from your house? A 35-minute drive when there's no traffic to go shopping. Terri, is that because everybody knows you in Clear Lake and knows that you and Dede are murderers? Have they figured it out in Clear Lake, California, what you have done, and you can't go anywhere anymore without somebody taking a picture of you or asking you where Kyron is? Good.
Hey, Terri, where's Kyron? How long you gonna hold your peace, Terri? You want to say hi to Stacy or Desiree? Maybe tell Desiree where her son is? Okay, see you on Facebook later, honey.
And don't worry, when she sent me this message, I gave her the spiel. Like I told her, you should be careful walking up to Terri Horman. She's a very dangerous woman. I let her know that that's dangerous. It's a dangerous situation. She didn't need to do it. That nobody was pressuring her into doing it. She's just a very brave woman that wants justice for Kyron, and she does not care if Terry's dangerous. She's taken videos of her before. So I did what I thought I needed to do and say in order for her to, you know, just let her know how dangerous she is, right? Because I had to. I really don't know if I could walk up to Terri and act like that, honestly, because I know what a dangerous woman she is. Lori Oliver here in chat has dealt with Terri Horman too. She knows how dangerous Terri Horman is too. She has stolen guns, stolen cars, gotten DUIs. She's got 3 murder for hires and plus what she's done to Kyron. Okay, she gets away with everything. You know, there are people out there that think she's got some kind of connection or something with law enforcement, and that's why she keeps getting away with things. No, she is just, she can lie with a straight face. She can do and say anything. And I don't know why. I cannot explain it, but she just keeps being able to walk away from all of this. But finally, I believe very soon, this year, next year, maybe even 3 years from now, but it's coming, the law enforcement's going to go after her for this, that she will not get away with it. And because Kane Horman, Kyron's father, is a victim in Kyron's case, those murder for hires are all put in with Kyron's case to go after her for all of that too. So she won't be getting away with those things. It was very disappointing, though, to see down in California that she wasn't getting arrested for stealing a gun from her roommate and having it for a year. The jury actually thought she was going to get the gun back. What? What? She had it for a whole friggin' year. They found the gun in her glove box of her car when they pulled her over for driving a stolen vehicle. Yes, driving a stolen vehicle and had a stolen gun in her car. And they thought, we're going to just let her go off on this because we thought she was going to give the gun back. I do not know what happened in court, what was said in court to make them think that, but that's what they thought. And therefore, she was released on that. Her choice of things that may bother one was almost like an admission. Absolutely. Yes, all liars are dangerous. Well, that's why law enforcement started looking into her immediately, and that's how Desiree Young knew. She knew right off of the bat. She got the phone call from Terri that Kyron was missing, and one of the first things that she told Desiree is his backpack and coat are still hanging up in the classroom. And Desiree believes that she did that on purpose. I mean, she's done many, many things over the years on purpose to Desiree, to mock at her, to make her feel uncomfortable, to, you know, make, I don't even know what the words are, but purposely tells her Kyron doesn't have his jacket because he's missing and it's getting nighttime. And Desiree already is feeling like, oh my God, he's going to be cold. He's going to be out in the woods, because Kyron Horman didn't live in a house like a normal house, next to another house, next to another house, next to a home, with lights down the street and people with their garages and basketball hoops and lots of kids running around. Kyron Horman lived on 5 acres worth of land, and he lived right next to a rainforest. The area behind Skyline Elementary School is a giant rainforest. Forest Park is a rainforest with lots of trails for bikers and hikers and everything. This is the kind of land that law enforcement had to search for Kyron. They had to go down ravines with ropes and stuff. You know, we had somebody that used to come in here, and she's in our Facebook group, who was one of the searchers back then. Lori Oliver here, she came down to search for Kyron also using her dog. She never met Desiree or anything, but she helped search on Sauvie Island, and I don't know if she searched other places. Thank you, Lori, for, you know, putting so much time and effort into that. I really appreciate you. So many others do too. But there was another woman who said that they were bent over using like hand tools to look for Kyron, to look for evidence. Could you imagine being bent over in blackberries and ivy and poison oak and having to rappel down ravines, huge, giant ravines? I mean, 20, 30, 40, 100 yards long. All of the different mountains that were searched up in the area from the school, the Sauvie Island searches that Desiree Young, you know, would have these car washes, get money donated to her, use that money to search for Kyron because law enforcement wasn't still searching for him. Searches on Sauvie Island, off Springville Road, off Germantown Road. Rocky Point is a huge, I mean, it's so steep going down. I've taken videos. You can look here on my channel to find videos that will give you such a perspective in Kyron's case of the area, the school and the area surrounding the school, on Sauvie Island, all of the different places where they had searched, at least the ones that I am allowed to share with you, because I can't share some of the searches that have been done. I was asked by Detective Tabor not to do so. But it is just crazy to think about these searches where they have searched. And now I'm really wondering whether or not Kyron Horman may be put into a river somewhere, maybe on Sauvie Island, and all of the other searches that were done for evidence. I'm not sure. I am, now that new information has been coming out over the last few years, some of my theories have changed. Some of my thought process has changed. I'm really trying to piece together all of the information that I have to like make sense out of what's going on. I do know one thing that's going on though, and that's Desiree Young is pissed. She started in 2024 and in 2023 to start just giving out more and new information to keep, you know, the public interested in what was going on, because even now, I've got 17 people in here for Kyron's 23rd birthday. If I was in here doing something on Michael Vaughn or for another child, that number would be so up. But after a child's been missing for a long time, you know, all these new cases with all these other children that come up missing, that's what the public's interested in. They're not interested in a 15-year-old case. A lot of you that are in here are people that's been following Kyron's case for a long time. So you have to keep advocating, and her putting out information about her son and new information, talking about the new evidence, talking about those photos found on the burner phones is just crucial, because that's keeping the public, it's keeping people like me, people that follow the Kyron Horman Case Revisited group, the people that come to my YouTube channel and look at the videos that I've taken of the area. It's keeping all of these people interested. So it's so very important to keep sharing Kyron, keep sharing his face, keep sharing his story, keep putting out the facts, not the rumors. If you're unsure, if you want to know anything, you can always ask me. Come over to my Facebook group and ask me. Ask me here. I will be glad to answer anybody's questions just to get the facts straight. Here's Desiree Young imploring Terri Horman to come forward.
We would like all of you, everyone, to continue to get his face out there, to continue looking for him in your day-to-day activities. We pray each day for Kyron. We are working with investigators daily to bring Kyron home.
And then, during this brief and rare on-camera appearance, she did something that changed the tone of the entire case. She called out her son's stepmother, Terri Horman, and all but accused her of a crime.
We implore Terri Horman to fully cooperate with the investigators to bring Kyron home.
It's heartbreaking, isn't it, Rhonda? I know. I have such a hard time keeping it together sometimes when I watch those early on news broadcasts with her and Kane in it. I have several. Matter of fact, let's go over some of those real quick. Like I said, I normally would do like an all-day live for Kyron, and I'm here for a while. You know, I want to talk about Kyron. I want to talk about everything. Let's see what I have. I have many interviews here done by the parents. Here's one of them that's really interesting. I talked about Terri Horman's, how she uses her sexuality to get what she wants from people. It's actually talked about by both Kane and Desiree.
Story. Like I said, if it makes people feel better so that they'll keep looking for him, that's fine. Put the blame here, and then please go back out and let's keep looking for him and bring him home.
Kane knows that he's attacked. This is in a big piece that I did. There's several videos here. Kane knows he's being attacked by people. People blame Kane for what happened to Kyron. Why didn't you leave Terri? Why didn't you do something? How could you not know? He didn't know. He didn't know that Terri was getting drunk all the time. He didn't find that out till afterwards when people came forward and told him Terri was drinking all the time and passing out at the house. Him and Terri were fighting a lot months prior to Kyron's disappearance, and he was already getting ready to leave her, to divorce her, and that was one of the reasons why they kept fighting. That was one of the reasons they had a huge blowout the night before Kyron disappeared. You know, she had jealousy over Kyron because Kane loved him so much and paid so much attention. He was a great father. He was even a great father to James, which was Terri's son, and a great father to Kitty, Kiara. Her nickname was Kitty at the time. That was the 18-month-old sister in 2010. Terri Horman made her son James leave the house 6 months prior to Kyron's disappearance. That was right around the time the murder for hire stuff plot started. So making her son leave was just even more part of her plan. She didn't want him around to hear her talking or doing things or whatever. And Kane was an amazing father, doing everything he could. He even says in one of his news things that, you know, he spent so much time protecting Kyron from and the other children from the very strict, not abuse, but just strict rules and everything. James even came out once and said that when he would get in trouble, he would get sent to his room for like the whole summer, grounded to his room for a whole entire summer, would have to have permission to even go to the bathroom or even eat anything. Talked about Terri hitting him with wood spoons. She was very aggressive with punishment with James. And I don't know if that was going on before they both moved in with Kane, when that actually happened, but he talked about that when he was younger. But Kane also talks about being very aggressive, also talks about the color code up at the school that the school had, that were certain colors. And if Kyron, you know, was being bad or whatever, say he got like a red color that day. If, you know, he was good at school, he would get like a green color that day. And all of the kids in the class had those colors and stuff. But Terri Horman was the only parent that was calling the school and talking to the teacher every single day, asking what Kyron's color was. And if it was the bad color, she wanted him to get in trouble. And then Kane and Terri would fight about the punishments and whether or not he should be punished for something like that.
New candid words from Kyron Horman's father about those who want to hold him responsible for what happened to the 8-year-old. He sat down for a one-on-one interview addressing, among many issues, the recent friction between himself and Kyron's mother, Desiree Young.
On your side, investigator Anna Canzano joins us. And Anna, Kane Horman says he no longer feels responsible for what happened to Kyron?
He acknowledges that 4 months ago he did, but after working with a therapist and family and friends, he's come to realize they just didn't stand a chance against this circumstance. Despite
Thank you, Lori, for coming in and visiting. I appreciate it so much. I hope your husband feels better. Her husband's been going through cancer and in remission and everything for a very long time now. If you guys could pray for Lori's husband, I would appreciate it. We all know that, you know, getting a community to pray all together really does help. And I really believe in prayer. So Lori, we are all sending you and your husband lots and lots and lots of prayers. And I hope he starts feeling better real soon.
what Desiree Young says about Terri Horman hating Kyron, Kane Horman now believes there was no way to know his son would disappear and nothing he and others close to Kyron could have done to prevent it.
We're dealing with someone who I referred to earlier as a professional at misdirection and deceit. That's exactly what she's all about. And sitting here and trying to blame an individual for that, aside from the individual who carried out whatever happened to Kyron that day, it's unnecessary. It doesn't need to be done. But I understand that if it helps people put blame on me for this, then go right ahead. If it makes you feel better, as long as you get right back out and start looking for them, then that's fine. But I don't hold myself responsible, and I'm not going to hold myself hostage for this event that happened to him.
He's also downplaying the apparent fracture between himself and Desiree Young. Earlier this week, she accused him of withholding information about what was happening at home between Terri and their son.
Like I said, he wasn't withholding information. He didn't know about the information. People close to Terri started coming forward and giving him information, from what I understand. And then he came forward with some of it. Some information, like the fighting and arguing that was going in the house, was something he was keeping, though, from Desiree.
I know that she's extremely upset, and I don't know that it's necessarily at me or at anyone else in particular. We're all having a hard time with this. And I'm just chalking it up to, it's just one of those really difficult times that we're going through right now. It's, getting close to the holidays. We're all really emotional about this. And, as far as how our relationship's doing, it's fine. We haven't spoken for a little bit longer than normal, but that'll be rectified here shortly with the holidays coming up and kind of getting past some things. I'm not worried about it at all.
On a day-to-day basis, Kane says the toughest part of his day is hearing Kyron's school bus come up and down the hill. It serves as a daily reminder of his son's absence. It's been 5.5 months since Kyron disappeared from his school in Northwest Portland. Anna Canzano, K2 News.
I just can't imagine hearing that school bus, because it would trigger you so much because your son didn't get off of the bus. It must have been very, very hard for him to, and still listen to that bus go up, because he still lives in the same house.
It's such, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just it's a tragic case. It's senseless, it's tragic, it's cowardly. I mean, there's just so many things I would use to describe harming a child.
What Kane has to say about Terri?
And he even uses the word harming a child.
Nothing. Or I would, even if I could, I would choose not to. This is about Kyron. It's not about her. Whatever justice comes about as a result of this case, it'll work its course, find its day. And
Kane refuses to give Terri any attention, because throughout all of this, Terri, although wants to play innocent, wants nothing but attention. She enjoys it. She thinks she has gotten away with all of this and loves the attention.
And you did. And so of all the people, you probably knew Terri the best.
So this is the part that I really wanted to show, where they are both talking about how Terri uses her sexuality to get what she wants.
How would you describe her? I mean,
I thought I knew her the best. Apparently I didn't, based on all the information that's come out, things that she's done, the way that she operates. There's a lot I don't know.
Yeah. How would you describe her, though? Like, if I didn't know her at all, and I don't, how would you describe who she is as a person? Because, like, if you look at her Facebook photos, by all appearances, she's like this loving, devoted mother, loving wife, dedicated to family and whatnot. So.
And I think that's the image that she wanted me to see as well.
Yeah.
And that's the image that I saw. Much more so in the beginning, not so much towards the end. Yeah. But that's how she came across to me, at least for the first 4 or 5 years. Very, very loving, very focused on children, wanting to do the right thing. Yeah. And then it became much more about her, a lot more selfishness involved, how she was, I guess, apparently unhappy with our marriage, but yet not willing to work through it or talk to me about it.
What was she unhappy about?
I don't know. She wasn't talking to me about it. She was talking to other people about things that would happen and putting her spin on things, and trying, and I think in a lot of cases, trying to manipulate people to see a relationship that she felt was focused in a certain direction as opposed to maybe where it was really focused. I don't know. I wasn't the recipient of the communication. I'm only finding out about it after the fact.
Right. It's odd that, like, the 3 different scenarios that, Terri was enlisting the help of other people, the landscaper, Mike Cook, Dede Spicher, all of these have sort of like sexual overtones, that was sort of the connection that she was drawing with these people to bring them in.
Mm-hmm.
That's how she manipulates people.
One of the ways, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think based on where we've been over the last 3 months, I don't know how you can predict or guess at that. Anything's possible.
Yeah.
So I couldn't say no at this particular point in time because I've got no idea what else is coming.
Blindsided by.
Yeah, left and right, basically, constantly over the past 3 months. And we've all seen the different things that have come out about things that she's done or things that she's done in the past or what have you. And more of all it's mainly the recent stuff where something comes up and it continues to be unpredictable.
Okay, this one is Desiree and her husband Tony talking early on.
Kyron Horman's mother, Desiree Young, looked into a TV camera Tuesday night with a message for her missing son.
Kyron, we love you and we miss you. We remain here working hard every day to get you home.
Desiree and her husband Tony Young, a Medford, Oregon police detective, said the day Kyron disappeared, he was supposed to be coming to visit them for the weekend.
I was supposed to take him out on my boat fishing that day, or the Saturday following, so that didn't happen, obviously, and that just kills me.
Desiree Young also appealed to Kyron's stepmother, Terri Horman, to tell everything she knows.
Please cooperate with investigators and the attorneys to help bring Kyron home. To Terri, you need to do what is right.
I mean, you see how both Desiree and Kane and stepfather Tony Young felt like Terri had something to do with Kyron's disappearance. All three of them. Kane was wired up within just a couple of days. Law enforcement came to him and said, we got to put a wire on you. Because why? Because they're already looking into his wife. They're already looking into Terri Horman, and he wore it. You want to know what sent shivers down your back, just like it sent shivers down Kane's? Is when Terri ran her finger up the back of, I believe it was Tony Young or somebody else, after she realized, I believe, that Kane was wearing a wire. And she was given a polygraph test just days after Kyron came up missing and failed. Then she had to be put in a room by Kane, Desiree, and Tony, and they had to talk her into doing a second one, telling her you need to do what you need to do to, get yourself from being looked at so they can move on and talk to somebody else. If you didn't do anything, go do another polygraph. She did. She failed. All questions that she was asked about leaving the school with Kyron, where Kyron was, or what she was doing that day, she failed. And then walked out on a third. It didn't even start, and she had already walked out. Then she turned around and lied on the Dr. Phil's show, saying that she was deaf in one ear, and then Dr. Phil actually, because she says that she depends on reading lips, used his cue card that he had in his hand to cover up his lips just to see if she could hear him. So she got tricked. And yeah, here's an interview by Tony Young that was done early on.
Four parents were gathered together: Kane and Terri, Desiree and Tony. Tony has had a unique perspective from day one.
And let's not forget, Tony Young is a detective. Okay, he was a detective at the time. He's retired just this last couple of years.
He's not only Kyron's stepfather, he's also a police detective back in Medford. And tonight, he's speaking out for the first time.
I was watching the investigation right from the start.
Tony says that first night, because he knows so much about how police operate, he was walking the family through what to expect.
I explained to each person that now our lives are not private anymore, that the investigators are going to want to know very detailed information about our lives.
That's when Tony noticed something unsettling. He says Terri, Kyron's stepmom, seemed to bristle at the idea that she would be questioned. When all four family members submitted to lie detector tests, Tony tells Dateline he noticed right away that something wasn't gelling for detectives because they asked Terri Horman to submit to a polygraph more than once.
I thought that something must not be right. Something must not be allowing them to check her off their list.
Isn't it possible, though, that she was just nervous that she didn't pass her lie detector test with flying colors because she was emotional or upset?
There's more to it than just that. The information that you're giving, does it hit your ear and sound right? Does it make sense?
She wasn't making sense.
Not from the information I heard from her.
She couldn't explain to them for about 2 hours worth of time where she was or what she was doing.
And there was something else that gave Desiree and Tony a sinking feeling that something wasn't right. They say Terri's cell phone records apparently didn't match up with where she said she was on the morning of Kyron's disappearance.
That, to me, is strike two. That's huge. There's starting to be some structural problems with what she's saying at that point. And then it continues to stack up.
As part of the investigation's new focus, law enforcement distributed a flyer asking people if they had seen Kyron the day he went missing. But the flyer caught people's attention for another reason. It featured a picture of Kyron's stepmother, Terri Horman, and the white pickup she'd driven Kyron to school in that day, and even included the question, Did you see Terri Horman at or near the school? Scratch the surface and a more complicated portrait of Terri Horman emerges. 5 years ago, she was convicted of drunk driving and pleaded guilty to reckless endangerment because her older son was in the car with her at the time. Kane says police informed him of a harrowing discovery. About 6 months before Kyron went missing, Kane's wife, Terri, had allegedly tried to hire a landscaper to kill him.
I didn't believe it at first. It was something that I couldn't even wrap my head around at the time.
There'd been no indication in your marriage that things were that bad or that she was upset with you?
No.
It was a pivotal moment for Kane, the moment he stopped trusting his own wife.
Do you think she is capable of hurting a child?
If you asked me before this situation, my answer is no. Based on what I know now, I don't know. I think anything is possible based on the way things have gone over the past few weeks.
Do you fear for your safety now, Kane, for your daughter?
I fear for my daughter.
Do you think that Terri has more information than she's told investigators so far
Yes.
about where Kyron is?
Yes.
And so your message to her now is what, Kane?
Fully cooperate with law enforcement. Tell the truth.
When I heard that, that made the decision in my mind. At the fork in the road, we knew which road to go down. I absolutely believe that Terri Horman is responsible for Kyron's disappearance.
And I do too.
With help? Did someone help her?
We personally think that's the case.
Do you think Terri Horman planned to do something?
Something with
To Kyron?
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Without a doubt, Desiree and Detective Tony Young believed Terri Horman planned and executed his disappearance and death. At the time, it wasn't death. They were just looking for Kyron in any way, shape, or form that they possibly could. Now, let me see. I just think it's so telling that Tony Young comes out and says, you know, everything that he did about her demeanor, how she was acting, how Terri didn't want or didn't like the fact that they were going to be looking into everybody. Like, she was supposed to be some huge crime junkie. How did she think that she wasn't going to be looked at? All parents were looked at. All parents given a lie detector test. All parents but her marked off their list. She was the only one not making sense, couldn't pay, you know, and I hear it 1,000 times. Yeah, but lie detector tests, you know, they're not municipal in court. In all actuality, Kane did at one point file something with the courts that was going to allow them to talk about her polygraph test. And don't know right now. I can't remember all of the details, but they were going to try using them. And whether or not they're municipal in court doesn't matter, because they're still used as a tool to find deceit. And obviously she couldn't pass a lie detector test. She never searched for Kyron Horman. And then there were rumors that were spread about that Terri started, that Desiree Young and her were friends. Get this.
Well, there's parts of the story in the beginning about Desiree and Terri being friends, and they weren't.
Yeah.
Right.
That comes from Terri herself.
There is the statement of, I hired Terri to take care of Kyron,
There
which
you
is
go.
completely false.
Yeah. Right.
She had a full-time job.
Right.
And I was already...
Yeah, she tried saying that she was hired by Kane to come in and take care of Kyron. You know, that it's just absolutely, these are the lies.
Desiree and I were already taking care of Kyron ourselves before she had any involvement in that regard.
So this was deception that Terri passed to friends and built up this mythology.
Yes.
Correct.
And but this was not accurate.
Correct.
Good to see you, domestic pinup. You can go back on the replay crew. So much information today. Thank you for joining. But yeah, she was starting rumors about Desiree and her being friends and everything. She didn't want people to know. She knew that Desiree Young was seeing right through her, right from the very beginning. She knew when she got up at that first press conference and she was seeing all the pictures in the media and everybody there, that Kyron wasn't going to be some small little case. We're talking the largest search for a missing person in all of Oregon's history. We're talking about the largest criminal case in all of Oregon's history, still to this day, 15 years later. And yeah, the reason that you see that look on her face during that news press conference is because she knows how big of a mistake she has made. That, oh my God, this is going to be way bigger than I thought. Here is that news conference. Watch Terri in the background, the way she hangs all over Desiree. Okay? Desiree came out and talked about how she thought God was going to strike Terri down right then and there, the way she was acting. One of the other detectives had to make Terri get away and move away from Desiree because she saw a look in Desiree's eyes, because it just looked like Desiree was going to lose it on Terri. And yeah, she had to separate the two of them because she even knew Desiree's feelings towards the fact already that there's something not quite right here. She's following her mom instincts and everything's pointing to Terri Horman. Terri Horman did this. She took my son. She knows something, and it never went away, never has went away, never will go away. And thank God that Desiree stuck with her motherly instinct and has pushed this as far as she has pushed it, because now I believe, because of her and the way she has pushed for justice, finally, you know, there's a district attorney listening to Desiree. But watch Terri. It's all so weird. At one point, she looks up to Desiree to see if Desiree's watching her.
Hello, my name is Tony Young, and I'm Kyron's stepfather. The family's asked me to speak on their behalf today. I would just like to say, Kyron,
Look at her head, now leaning on Desiree's shoulder.
we miss you, we love you, and we need you home.
And then Tony says something, and I can't remember what he says, but she looks up at Desiree when he says it. Let me see if I can remember what it was once I catch it.
Right now, we're doing everything we can to work with law enforcement and the search and the rescue crews to make sure that you can get back to us as soon as possible.
And you see no tears coming from Terri, no emotion, no nothing. She's trying very hard to feel something, but the only thing she's feeling and the only thing you can see is that Terri's guilty and she's scared.
We want to say how much we appreciate the outpouring of love and support, prayer and thoughts as we wait for you. Your school friends and their families, the teachers, the staff at your school, and the community as a whole have shown how much impact one little boy's smile can have on a community.
And now she grabs a hold. She's got her hand on her shoulder, her head on her shoulder, her other arm around her, and now she has grabbed her arm. She has let go of Kane completely and now is touching Desiree's arm. It's sickening.
Everything to us, and until you come home, this family is not complete. Please, Kyron, keep up the hope. We believe in you, and we know you will be back with us soon.
You know you'll be back with us soon. And she looks up at Desiree to see what she gets off on Desiree's pain. You can tell from her Facebook post, you can tell from other things that she really gets off on causing Desiree pain. You guys wouldn't believe the different screenshots that I have from Terri Horman's Facebook, from her posting in a Facebook group talking about Desiree. They all attacked Desiree. It's very sickening, especially when Desiree works for law enforcement, teaches law enforcement. They know 100% that Desiree has had nothing to do with her son's disappearance, and that Desiree is accused of not only spending money donated to her on her own, things at home, just, buying stuff with the money and not looking for Kyron. I mean, it's just like the most god-awful stuff you could possibly think of saying about Desiree. They all say it, and yeah, she really does. She just gets off on causing Desiree Young pain. But here, she looks up at Desiree. She wants to see what Desiree's reaction is to what Tony just said about bringing Kyron home. It's weird.
I'd like to now introduce Kyron's father, Kyron Horman.
And then this hug, right here between Kane and Tony, like there for a minute, Kane just can't let go. He can't let go because he's got to go talk about his son who is missing. And you can tell this hug, like he was trying to get some courage through Tony during this hug. It's heartbreaking. I cry every time I see it.
Hi, I'm Kane. I'm Kyron's father. We want to thank the community, the parents, the children, bus drivers, and all of those who are being interviewed multiple times to help find Kyron. Thank you. We as the family know how difficult and stressful this is, but your memories and statements can help us find Kyron. We will never be able to thank you enough for that help. Finally, we would like to thank the media. If it was not for you showing Kyron on every newscast, printing his story in the papers, his face would not be known to everyone. People from around the nation have seen his picture. This helps tremendously. Please help us bring Kyron home.
I mean, just sharing Kyron's information, excuse me, across the nation, and the look on Terry's face, because she's realizing this is way bigger than I thought it was going to be. What did I just do? Let me find. Let me see. This is another interview with Kane and Desiree from early on, too.
Starts up again just after Labor Day. Kyron would be entering the 3rd grade.
What is it like to wake up in the morning and know it's another day that he's not home?
Sickening. It's hard to get up every day.
And now school is starting again.
Yep. He needs to come home. We miss him terribly.
If Kyron is somewhere and can see this, is there something you would want to say to him?
We're going to bring you home. We love you.
Yep, we're still looking.
Yeah.
And we won't stop until you come home.
And they haven't stopped. Kane stays very quiet with everything that he does, but he's constantly showing up to car shows, putting on a table. It has flyers, t-shirts, bracelets, buttons, everything for Kyron. He advocates for his son very quietly, but he does post in the Kyron Horman Foundation, the foundation that he runs, who also advocates for and has sponsored Michael Vaughn. That's how I started the Michael Vaughn case. Once I was asked to take on Michael Vaughn's case, and then I found out he was being sponsored by the Kyron Horman Foundation. How could I possibly say no? It is absolutely heartbreaking to know that he's 23 years old today and that he has not been with his family celebrating his birthday for 15 years. That time can never be taken back. All that time missed, all the birthdays, the holidays, all the memories that could have been made with his mom and dad, with his siblings, with other family members. I got to meet Tony, Desiree, Doug Bishop. I got to meet, I was sitting right next to Kyron's grandparents at that vigil, and I didn't even know it. Vigil. I can't ever say that word right. But I even got to meet Stacy Green for the first time, the other advocate for Kyron Horman that runs a page. And then, there were his aunties there, Desiree's sisters. There were so many family members at that vigil. And once again, it just says something that she's not trying to come up with money to search for Kyron. Why? Because law enforcement is looking for him again. Why? Because there's new evidence. There's these photos found on these burner phones, and those phones have GPS locations and everything else where the picture was taken, and they got to use that geographing or whatever it's called to hone in specific areas and just start, making those graphs and making those searches till maybe they can find a location. Because Dede Spicher lives in Oregon, still hasn't moved away to California. Was Kyron ever moved? This was a conversation that I had with my admin today. Could that have possibly happened? Is that why we've never found Kyron? It's very possible. In the Michael Vaughn case, his body was moved to an unknown location by one of the 4 suspects. So yeah, it is possible. But that's why having the BAU looking at Terri, looking at Dede and their behavior during the time that Kyron came up missing is all so important. Dede Spicher, so Kane immediately felt like when he finally learned about the murder for hire plot against him, one of them, because there were 3, he took Kiara from the house and left, leaving Terri at home by herself. He went and filed for divorce. He filed for a restraining order. He did everything he could to keep her away from seeing Kiara. She has not seen her daughter in 15 years. The judge told her, you do XYZ, you can see your daughter. But she didn't want to talk about Kyron. She had to answer questions about Kyron in order to see her daughter, and she didn't want to answer those questions. She has still to this day never seen her daughter in 15 years. She did try to kidnap her. Yes, tried to steal her from the gym. That didn't happen. She was trying to find out the location of where Kane was hiding, right along with her other friend, which was Kyron Horman's friend from high school, Michael Cook, who I find very suspicious because I think he was involved in some way, shape, or form of possibly helping her kidnap Kiara or helping her in another situation. That's who she was sexting with when Kane left the home. And then Dede Spicher comes and moves in with Terri for 11 days. These 2 women are acting like they're having a slumber party. They're sexting with Michael Cook. Terri Horman sending pictures of herself and everything else to Michael. Again, Kyron Horman's friend, the same Michael Cook that started the vigil for Kyron after he came up missing, who showed up out of nowhere and inserted himself into this case. I find all of these things very suspicious. And then starts a relationship with Terri Horman. Did they have a relationship prior? I don't know. Cops talked to Michael Cook several times. He lived in a home not far away from Skyline Elementary School, and then moved away from the home that he owned, rented it out, and has recently moved back into that house near Skyline. I find that all very suspicious. But It's crazy to me that Dede Spicher moves in with Terri for 11 days after she's told law enforcement she hasn't talked to Terri in months and months since Terri's birthday in March of 2010. So very suspicious that they are acting like nothing's wrong, that they're not looking for Kyron. And again, at the end of the month, they used burner phones on June 4th, 2010, the day that Kyron came up missing, and they were using burner phones again when she was staying with Terri for those 11 days. They would go outside to have conversations with each other because they thought that the house was bugged. They said they got their burner phones so they could communicate with each other because they thought law enforcement was listening to them. If you didn't do anything wrong and you're not guilty of doing anything, why do you have burner phones? And why the hell are you worried about law enforcement hearing your conversations? Dede Spicher plays a huge role in this. And Terri knew she could use Dede. I want to throw something up. It is a clip from Doug Bishop's show where Desiree Young is talking about Dede Spicher. And while this is playing, hold on a second. I'm going to take a little break. But listen to what Desiree says to Doug Bishop.
Every single possible other person except one. I should say two. Terri's friend, Dede Spicher. You don't get Dede without Terri. In fact, they've had a personal relationship physically. As far as I'm aware, Dede was 2 miles from the school on Germantown Road, working at a property where she was landscaping for them. She was also missing during the same period of time that Terri was. The people on the property always have lunch together in their central location, and they were trying to locate her, and she was missing.
Okay.
And they tried calling her, and she didn't answer. Her phone was on the property. Her car was on the property, but Dede was nowhere to be found, and they looked everywhere. It's our understanding through information I've had turned over to me during searches that she was picked up by Terri from her job on that property. In the DA's office, they believed at the time that they could get her to flip on Terri. Several weeks later, they made an agreement with Dede Spicher for immunity. Here's the problem with that. As you're investigating, you're getting evidence, you're obtaining new information, new interviews, all the things, right? And now, today, what we can say is there's physical evidence that is involving her. From what I understand, Dede Spicher said Terri was using throwaway phones and had loaded it with minutes and was using that to communicate with people. They were able to acquire the phones. Dede took them where they dumped them. I don't know when the phones were dumped. They got access to them a couple of weeks after Kyron went missing. There's communication connected to photos that were stored on the phone that is the physical evidence in the case. It's all things that imply guilt. It's all things showing conceal and lie and deceit. All of it is circumstantial, which is unfortunate. And then she proceeds to plead the fifth. She doesn't want people to know what she is. And now that she has an immunity deal, we can never prosecute her.
Not until Desiree swore to take that immunity deal away and find a way. And she has, in my opinion, been able to find a way to take that immunity away. It was a state-given immunity deal. And Now that the FBI is involved, it turns this case in a way to a federal. And let's talk more about Dede Spicher missing for 4 hours. Listen to this.
For the first time, photos of Horman's close friend Dede Spicher are included, along with an attached questionnaire asking if anyone saw Spicher near the school that day. She says she was on a gardening job, but her employers now claim they were unable to reach her for 4 hours, much longer than first reported.
For 4 hours, and it was originally said that she was only missing for like 90 minutes. It was originally said that Terri was only missing for 90 minutes. And then as more information started coming in, it was longer and longer the timeline. Terri Horman says, oh, I went to one Fred Meyer's, and then I went to a second Fred Meyer's, and then I went to a dry cleaner, and then I drove around to soothe my daughter's earache. And one time she said, when I got her to sleep, I finally got her to sleep. Then in another interview, it was, I couldn't get her to sleep, so I went to the gym. And then she goes to the gym, and then she goes home. And at one point, she said she went to a Michael's craft store. She never did. Desiree talks about that. Nobody's seen her there. She wasn't on footage. She actually says she went to an Albertsons store that was even further than the second Fred Meyer's. That wasn't true. Law enforcement ended up getting footage on that as well. They were able to use Terri's credit cards and cell phone to pinpoint where she went and what she was doing. There's just been a lot of talk about that. Now, Dede Spicher was supposed to be working at Westwind Farms, and Dede Spicher said that she went in the morning and she talked to her employer and that she got her duties for the day, and then she went out onto the property to do her duties. That she was working at the far end of Westwind Farms. It's a huge piece of property. It's over 60 acres big, or 79 acres, sorry. Half of that is untouchable land that's like preserved, trees and land and everything else. And the other 40 acres is a lavender farm, Westwind Farms. They were actually having a huge event the next day. So Dede was given, these orders to go out and work on the property. So when lunchtime came around, Dede said that, they had asked her to come in for lunch. She was going to go in for lunch. And when lunchtime comes around, her cell phone's left in her car and her car's left on the property. But lunchtime comes around, the employer and employees could not find Dede anywhere on the property. I do have a video of the property. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Let me see. Videos. Like I said, I have a ton of videos on Kyron's case from that area. If you ever want to go through and take a look and get a good idea of the area, it gives a great perspective. Let's see. Just give me a moment. Okay, here we go. I mean, not even an eighth of them. Okay, I found what I want to share. Let's take a look. This will explain to you guys so much when it comes to Dede. Yes, Dede was employed at a farm. It was a lavender farm. And this video is going to show you and give you a very good perspective of where now Desiree is saying Terri Horman picked her up from her work. And from there, I don't know if they took Dee Dee to another vehicle. There's been talk about Dee Dee using her brother's truck because it looked just like the Horman truck. But I want to share this with you guys. Let's see, why can't I? Hi, everyone. I am at West Wind Farms, where Dede Spicher worked on June 4th, 2010. She started working there about a month prior to Kyron's disappearance. This is the main entrance right here to West Wind Farms, and this is the west side of the property. And Dede says on Blink on Crime interview that she was working the far end of the property close to the road. This is the far west corner close to the road. I just wanted to show you the west side of West Wind Farms. Okay, this is the main entrance to West Wind Farms, right here off of Old Germantown Road. I am just wanting to clarify some confusion that there are two ways onto the property, and this is one. This is the second driveway into West Wind Farms. The house is right here, and this road kind of goes down and around the house and then back towards the east side of the property, and it's connected to Germantown Road. There are a couple more of these gates along this fence line, so at one time there actually could have been more entrances into West Wind Farms. Okay, so let's go over the property a little bit. There's 79 acres of property, and I know at one point 20 acres was made into a conservation project, and you legally cannot cut down trees in that area. 40 acres is like a quarter mile north, quarter mile east, quarter mile west, quarter mile south. A great big giant square. That's how big 40 acres is. That's the main perimeter of this area, is the 40 acres. The rest of it is a lot of woods, a lot of blackberries, and everything like that. So very thick wooded area. Okay, so this is the far east of West Wind Farms. This is the corner. There's a gate there. Never realized there was a gate here. Now, the house is right over here to West Wind Farms. Little dragonfly just touched me. And I want to just go over with you Dede Spicher. She comes to work 9 a.m. in the morning on June 4th, 2010. She leaves her lunchbox and her cell phone in the car. I don't know if she normally left her cell phone in the car, but she said that she left it in the car because she didn't want to drop her phone in the mud that day. After she shows up to work, she goes in and talks to her employer, Mrs. Hawkins-Smith. She gets her duties for the day and was also invited for the first time by her co-workers and Miss Hawkins-Smith for lunch. And there was an event going on, a big tour going on June 5th, the very next day. So I'm sure whatever work Mrs. Hawkins-Smith gave her, it was to do something, you know, for that event. You're going to have vendors coming up here. You've got people doing flower baskets. You have them setting up tables and, you know, preparing, making the property look nice for a bunch of people to come onto the property and look at your property. So lunchtime rolls around and the co-workers are trying to find Dee Dee. Miss Hawkins Smith tried calling her. The co-workers tried hollering for her. They could not get a hold of her on her cell phone. They couldn't find her on the property, and she never answered back to their callings. Now, Dee Dee, on her interview on Blink on Crime, said that she was at the far end of the property, close to the road. This corner is close to the road. And if you go up this hill, not even an eighth of a mile, it's going to take you to Germantown Road. This is Old Germantown Road. And right when you get to Germantown Road, if you were to go north from there, not even a block is a stop sign, and that's going to be Skyline Boulevard. And then if you take a left at that stop sign, you're only about 8 minutes to 10 minutes away from Skyline Elementary School, just to give you a little bit of perspective there. Now, they need to find Dee Dee. She could have fallen in a hole here. She could have hurt herself somewhere on this property. But nobody could find her. In the beginning, they said that Dee Dee was missing from 10 a.m. in the morning until 1 p.m. And then it went from that to 11:15 to 1 p.m. So a little over 90 minutes. Nobody knows why the time changed. She said that a vendor saw her. I have speculated several times that maybe MCSO talked to that vendor and did give her an alibi for a specific amount of time, but she was still unaccounted for from 11:15 to 1 p.m. Now, I find it really strange that during an event, they can't find her. And maybe she thought, hey, this is a great day for me to disappear because there were so many people. But I also look at it as, if there were a lot of people, then why didn't they see Dee Dee? Dee Dee eventually ends up going and staying with Terri at Terri's house after Kane took the baby out. Well, more importantly, is if Mrs. Hawkins Smith sent her out to do something that day on the property, then it would have been easy for them to find her, and they couldn't find her. And then later on, law enforcement had her reenact the calling because Mrs. Hawkins Smith and other employees were hollering her. She said she didn't hear anybody hollering for her when they asked her why she wasn't responding to them if she was on the property, because she still to this day claims she was on the property. Well, during the reenactment, Dee Dee has law enforcement standing with her, and then other law enforcement in the areas where Miss Hawkins Smith and other employees were hollering, and they're hollering her name. And at that point, she says, oh, I can hear that. Well, she has to. Why? Because she's got law enforcement standing right beside her, and they're hearing Dee Dee being called. And it echoes up there. It echoes. This is a huge, huge piece of property up on a big old hill. I mean, look at it. You can see all of the trees and everything, the mountains off into the distance. This is 79 acres worth of property, and they couldn't find her anywhere on the property. She could have gotten stung by bees, anything. She could have had a heart attack. Anything could have happened out there. Mrs. Hawkins Smith was responsible for her as her being her employee. She had to make sure Dee Dee was found. They searched for her. They called for her. They didn't just, oh, well, we can't find Dee Dee. Let's go eat lunch. No, that's not how the situation happened. And because this, because Miss Hawkins Smith, felt So whatever about what happened, she ended up getting an attorney. She didn't want her property destroyed. Law enforcement, they searched Dee Dee's condo. They searched Dee Dee's parents' house, other family members' house, including her aunt in Helvetia that's 5 miles away from the school. They searched this property for Kyron. They searched all of Old Germantown Road and Germantown Road. Guess where Dee Dede Spicher led law enforcement to when she gave them the burner phones? You guessed it, Germantown Road. And when did this picture come out of Dee Dede and Terri? This was the flyer coming out during the time they were searching Germantown Road, Old Germantown Road, when they had Dee Dede take them to the cell phones that they now have evidence off of. And this was the flyer going around asking people for any information about these two women. And witnesses were found saying that they saw these two women together passing things from one truck to another truck, because that's what I get out of it. And guess what? Her brother had a truck that looked just like the Horman truck. It was the exact same thing, only one truck was tinted and the other one wasn't. Was the only difference in these two trucks. And then her brother here recently says something in the background during a video that was taken when they went to Dee Dede Spicher's house, and Stacy, the advocate, ends up getting attacked by Dee Dede's sister-in-law. There was a huge fight. And then in the background, you hear Rick, Dee Dede Spicher's brother, say, I went and picked Dee Dede up. When did he do that? And he claims, or his wife claims, and so does this Terri support group, that he was gone getting a divorce in another city. Well, we've got court documents to prove otherwise, that had actually happened long before Kyron came up missing. So there was no way he was getting a divorce. Yes, 15 years is too long. Thank you, Lori. I am still wanting to show the receipts when it comes to Dee Dede Spicher. What did Dee Dede's attorney say? This is a good one.
Friends is defending his client. He claims Dee Dede Spicher is cooperating and she has nothing to do with Kyron's disappearance. Prosecutors subpoenaed the Tualatin woman to appear before a grand jury yesterday. Her lawyer says Spicher appeared before the secret panel but did not testify. She's expected to be called back before the grand jury sometime in the future. Spicher is a close friend of the missing boy's stepmother. Terri Horman was the last one to see Kyron Horman on June 4th. Previously, Kyron's family issued a statement saying Spicher is not cooperating with investigators. Police and the FBI searched her condo. Spicer's attorney claims she is being treated unfairly. But when asked about her friend, the lawyer predicts time is running out for Terri Horman.
I would be frankly surprised if Terri Horman did not eventually face charges in this case. I would just be very surprised if an indictment didn't come down.
I mean, that's very telling because he has access to all of the court docs and the information and everything, right, to be able to see it. And he says that he would be very surprised if Terri Horman wasn't arrested. That's huge. Here's more spoken by Bruce McCain about Dee Dede Spicher.
Now in Portland is attorney Bruce McCain, a former captain with the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office. Thanks very much for being with us again. Appreciate it, sir.
Thank you, Harry.
Let us talk about this now. Terri Horman's friend, Dede Spicher, tells People.com that her friend, Terri, did nothing wrong, that she herself never left that property the day of Kyron's disappearance. What is your reaction to all of this information?
Well, here it's kind of interesting that Dede Spicher would tell her story to People magazine, but yet she's unwilling to tell it to the local community here. The words that she used, by the way, in a way kind of put herself in a bind, because she's claiming that she never left this 38-acre parcel that she was guarding on that morning, and yet somehow she just knows that Terri Horman was not involved on the same morning.
How could Dede know for sure that Terri wasn't involved if she stayed on that property and hadn't talked to Terri since March? Is the point Bruce is trying to make here.
Which, of course, would be impossible for her to prove. The big issue here, though, Harry, is that Dede Spicher, initially, when she first popped up on the public radar, she distanced herself from Terri Horman, saying she's cooperating and she's got nothing to do with Terri, etc. And now she seems to be joined at the hip as a part of the Terri Horman fan club.
Right. Is there something in this that indicates something? Was she not contactable at some point during, is it like a 3 or 4 hour time period here where people could not get a hold of her?
Yes, the key is on Friday, June 4th, the day Kyron went missing after he was at the school. The key times are in that mid-morning area, and the people that were owned the property that she was guarding at indicated that they could not find her for anywhere from an hour and a half to up to 3 hours, from roughly 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Now, Dede's now claiming, no, I never left the property, I was there the whole time. The problem for Dede is that she apparently has no one to corroborate that particular story, so it's her word against some other credible witnesses. So that's really the problem here, and the key thing would be whether or not she's going to say that same story to the grand jury.
Right. If People.com had called you for advice on what question to ask her, what would you have asked her?
Well, this may be part of the deal of not asking any tough questions, but I would have first of all have known, do you have anybody to corroborate your idea that you were never left that property? I would have asked her about the disposable cell phones, whether she purchased any of them, used them, and if so, why. I certainly want to know what she and Terri Horman spoke about when she stayed with Terri for 11 days at that household. And also, finally, I'd ask her, are you willing to voluntarily go before the grand jury without any lawyer help and without any kind of a grant of immunity? That's going to be the key question here. She's the only witness in this entire episode that so far is lawyered up and is actually trying to negotiate with the district attorney as to when and how she's going to testify to the grand jury. For somebody that's got nothing to hide, that's unusual.
The only person. Now, several houses of Terri's friends were searched. Several Terri's friends came around and talked with Terri. That's why their properties were searched. But Dede Spicher, who had a father that was also law enforcement, mind you, was the only one that lawyered up and was trying to make a deal, trying to control, you know, the grand jury, when she was going to testify, how she was going to testify. And then this bitch ends up with friggin' immunity that will be taken away. She really does think that she's absolutely untouchable. Let me look through my files, see if there's anything else here that is really important that we can talk about. I know some of you that follow this case, that follow me. Oh, let's look at some of Dede's tweets. That's just really strange and unusual. But some of this information I do share. I like to show my receipts. I know during this live, I have not shown all my receipts for the information that I'm talking about. But if you go back, you look at different lives, or you go into the Kyron Horman Case Revisited Facebook group, you will see all of the receipts. And if you have a question and want the receipt, message me, email me, I will get back to you. So these are tweets by Dede Spicher on Twitter, 5:25 p.m. June 4th via text. Holy crap, I know this boy. On June 5th, yes, my friend Terri is the stepmother mentioned in this article. It's so shocking when something like this hits so close to home. So she's already tweeting about knowing this boy the day he came up missing. One of the most craziest thing that she says was on June 16th. Was it June 16th? No, it was on June 22nd. To surrender now is to pay the expensive org twice. It was a Dylan Thomas piece, but I mean, it's just crazy. To surrender now is to pay the expensive org twice. And then she also says, I'm cut, blistered, totally out of alignment, thoroughly exhausted, and would do it all again in a heartbeat. And then talks about needing car repairs. Were not on the agenda for today. That was also on June 22nd. That's one of the reasons why me and my admin actually started talking about whether or not Dede Spicher or Terri or both tried moving Kyron sometime in June, was because she has these unexpected car repairs that she's posting about, and they had to take a truck. Remember, Terri borrowed a truck, and if Dede also had a truck, if she tried using her car to get to the location where they buried Kyron, could she have done something, messed her car up? Now, listen, this is all theory. This is all my idea. Don't take it, run with it, rumor with it, whatever. This is just something me and my admin Heidi talked about and we're thinking about, bouncing ideas off of each other. Yeah, car repairs. And could she have tried driving her car to go move Kyron if she really felt like she wasn't going to be able to trust Terri? I mean, but it's pretty early on and the eyes are already on her, right? So would she really take the chance of doing that? I don't know, but she definitely posts about this car issue, just like she talks about being cut and blistered and totally out of alignment. And would do it all again in a heartbeat. What is she talking about? What are you talking about, Dede? This is another quote from Dede. Any conversations we wanted to have, we'd go into the yard. When we were in the house, we'd talk about the kids. We'd talk about marriage. We'd talk about the family. Dede Spicher to People magazine in August 18th of 2010. Why were they having conversations out in the yard? Why were they using burner phones? All of that screams guilt and suspicion. Searchers scour the woods. August 8th, 5:21 p.m. 2 vans search looking for clues into Kyron's disappearance off of Germantown Road west of Skyline. This again is just proving that they are looking and searching the area near and where Dede Spicher worked. Some crews were using search dogs to go through forested areas on Germantown Road. Germantown Road has these huge, deep ravines, and in those ravines they were having to rappel down there on Springville Road and several other areas where they looked. This area isn't your normal neighborhood or area. Like I said before, there's a rainforest nearby. These are very deep, deep ravines. What's this one? Investigators spent Sunday searching the home where Dede Spicher gardened on the morning of June 4th. And remember, like, law enforcement isn't going to go out, spend their time, money, and effort searching all of these areas if they didn't have probable cause or they didn't know something, right? You're talking about a property that's 79 acres. You're in all of the windy road on Old Germantown Road, and then all of Germantown Road. And then they're also passing out flyers, talking with people. They're searching her house and other people's houses or families' houses. You don't do that unless something, like law enforcement knew something. How did Dede get immunity? Because she knew something about Kyron's case, right? The person who owns the house where Dede Spicher garden, who is cooperating with investigators, told investigators she called Spicer on her cell phone, but she didn't answer. The source told KGW a person who was working with Spicer, who is also cooperating with investigators, told them of trying to unsuccessfully find Spicer. So that proves right there they were searching for her. Both people have told investigators they have no idea where Spicer was during that period of time. And we trust KGW news source because Kylie Boshi is from KGW. He's been working this case since the very beginning. On the weekend, August 7th through the 8th, searchers and investigators resumed a ground search for Kyron Horman. The search focused on the 2.2 mile Old Germantown loop. That's the loop where she was working there at Westwind Farms, not far away from the home where Dede Spicher, one of Terri Moulton's friends, was gardening the day that Kyron went missing. Both women missing during the same unaccounted time. Investigators to continue to concentrate in the areas near that area also on August 9th. And then Dede Spicher was also called to the grand jury on July 19th, but she was not ever questioned. On July 22nd, police searched the homes of 3 of Terry's friends. Several friends took polygraph tests. Dede Spicher declined to take a polygraph test. Dede was very uncooperative. July 15th, Dede's condo was searched in Tualatin. Police took her computer and her phone. July 22nd, K9 search was done at Dede's aunt's property, Northwest Bishop Road in Helvetia. That's just 5 miles away from Kyron's school. Also, police searched the homes of 3 of Terry's friends. It was also reported on August 8th that a tip from Dede Spicher is what sparked a search. Search teams were seen near a field off Cornelius Pass Road, about 1 mile south of Skyline School and Old Germantown Road, not far from the farm where Dede was working on June 4th. And that search, I now know, was for the burner phones that they found. And I also find this very interesting. Mrs. Hawkins Smith, the owner of Westwind Farms where Dede worked, Rudy Sanchez was one of the landscapers that was involved in the murder for hire plot that turned Terri down. Mrs. Hawkins Smith's friend was a fellow farm owner. Her name was Jean Ann Vaughn. Did hire RS Landscaping, Rudy Sanchez, the landscaper that Terri Horman tried to get for that murder for hire. Miss Hawkins Smith's friend hired Rudy Sanchez. Dede Spicher was interning with Miss Vaughn at the same time that Rudy Sanchez was working on Miss Vaughn's farm. Then later, a month prior to Kyron's disappearance, she goes and starts working for Miss Hawkins Smith. I believe that the triangle, the web, I believe that Dede Spicher met Rudy Sanchez, and that's how they all 3, get entangled together when Terri goes to hire the landscapers because Dede knew them. It's crazy. That is a huge web of crap right there. Yeah, let's have a trial. Let me be the prosecuting attorney, please. There's so much evidence in this case, though circumstantial or not, it doesn't matter. It's just so much, and there's so many layers. Like, you can just go on and on and on and on with Kyron and the case, with the doctor's appointments. Let me see what else I have here. Is there anything you guys want to see? I showed that. Let's see. Let's show Terry's emails the day after Kyron came up missing, how she's spinning the narrative about things in comment section.
It appears Terri Horman has been quietly making her own comments all along. ABC station KATU in Portland found postings they say they verified as Horman in the comment section of their website, including statements agreeing with supporters and others arguing with detractors, writing, "Wow, unless you know all the details, the stress, the worry, the pain, you have nothing to speak of. You're merely making assumptions. You have no facts, details, or knowledge to present. So please refrain from your accusations."
Yes, I totally understand where you're coming from on this, that it seems like the ball was dropped because of those murder for hires. Kane became a victim also because of the murder for hires. Therefore, all that information was loaded into Kyron's case so they can go after Terri for all of it. I mean, they want to use all barrels. They want to get her for everything they can and really make it stick. But I am still shocked to this day that they haven't talked about the murder for hires. But it makes sense if you look at it as, if they talked about the murder for hires, they would have to talk about Kyron's case. And since Kyron's case hasn't been compiled, hasn't been, done, and they have never named anybody a person of interest or whatever, if they start using Kyron's case and having to talk about it in the murder for hire plots, if anything is done, said, or anything wrong back then, early on, before they knew and had all of this other information, that could be used against, or Terri could use that information, for herself. So if that makes sense, yeah, they just didn't want to talk about Kyron's case yet because it was so early. Let's see what else I have here. This is all having to do with what Terri Horman was doing during the time Kyron's missing. I believe this is the 5th.
Terri knew suspicions settled on her, even writing, quote, "They are blaming me in the blogs. I just want to scream."
Terri, do you have anything to say? Do you have anything to say? You know where Kyron is. Yes or no?
She is the person everyone wants to talk. Kyron Horman's stepmother.
You tell the world something.
But while Terri Horman has remained silent in front of cameras, her fingers have not. These are excerpts from 2 emails that K2 News obtained, written by Terri to a source we will not reveal, sent on the day after Kyron vanished from Skyline School during that science fair. Now, investigators have said Terri is the last person to see Kyron, but this is what Terri wrote. "The teacher thought I said I was going to take Kyron with Kitty for a doctor's appointment. I said I was going to look at other exhibits. How do you mess that up? His coat and backpack were still at school. I left the school at 9, and he was seen with a man, chaperone, and 2 girls."
Here you have her spinning the narrative as far as talking about the backpack and the coat being at the school, just like I said she would do. And then she seems to know her timeline here, but then messes it up when she's talking to law enforcement and has to write it out on a computer. And here she is spinning the narrative about a chaperone and 2 other girls. Had the chaperone and those 2 other girls had any information, they would have had the little girls write out a description, a drawing or something of the chaperone, by the way, that never existed, because in the book Boy Missing, they talk about the chaperone and that they looked into this man that was talked about. And she wants to talk about it being highly chaotic because there was 300 people running around. That's all spinning a narrative that something could have happened to Kyron because 300 people are around and it's chaotic and no one would have witnessed or seen anything.
After I left, there were no men on the chaperone list. That, and it was highly chaotic. Had to been 300 people running around, no coordination. The reference to her daughter's doctor visit, not mentioned again in a follow-up email sent later that day. "I didn't just drop him off. I spent time with him, took pictures, and he was in safe hands, I thought, as I watched him walk down the hall. Kids saw him after I left. Teacher..."
This picture that she talks about here, remember, this is the 5th. She's on these blogs and sending emails to people on the 5th of June, the day after Kyron comes up missing, spinning narratives, giving her thoughts. You don't know what has happened to your child if you have no involvement in it, right? You can't spin the narratives. All you can say is, I don't know what happened to him. You want law enforcement to figure it out. You don't want to spin narratives. You don't want to have a bunch of different stories to give law enforcement and have them running around chasing their tail, which is exactly what she had them doing. And then this picture that she took of Kyron, the one of him standing in front of a science fair project. What's crazy about that too is everywhere she went that day, she made sure to show somebody a picture of Kyron. She showed a security guard. No, not a security guard. I'm sorry. She ran into a friend of hers that was just an acquaintance, showed them the picture, some people at the gym the picture. She's sending this picture to Desiree, playing games with her already early in the day. But she took that picture to show everybody because she was trying to make an alibi for herself.
Put him as absent at 10 a.m. Someplace between 9 and 10 is when we think it happened.
When we think it happened. Like, she's trying to say somewhere between 9 and 10 is when we think it happened. No, law enforcement said from the very beginning that he came up missing at 8:50, between 8:45 and 8:50. Is their timeline from the beginning. So her 9 to 10, and then she wants you to believe that it's not just her idea, it's a we thing. We all believe that this is when it happened. She doesn't want anybody talking about that 8:45 to 9 o'clock window because that's when she knows she left the school with Kyron.
I have a receipt showing I was checking out at Fred Meyer 7 miles away at 9:12 a.m. I went to another Fred Meyer looking for meds for Kitty they didn't have at the first Fred Meyer. Then I was trying to get Kitty to sleep in the truck for a few minutes, but no go, so off to the gym at 11:20, out at 12:20.
And then she said she got to the gym at 11:20 here early on. Then she says it was at 11:39. But then in the book, Boy Missing, Rebecca writes about something that Desiree had told her, which was the footage and the proof that Terri didn't actually arrive to the gym and check in, because you use your little card or you use your little app or whatever, you check in to the gym. That didn't happen till 12:20, but here she is saying she was out by 12:20. And when she said she didn't get there till 11:39, I know she's saying 11:20 here, but then later she said 11:39. That gives her almost another 45 minutes worth of time, which added more time she was unaccounted for once they found the footage of her coming to the gym.
Home at 12:45, came home at 2, bus at 3:30. That was my day. They keep asking me, now on my 5th interview with them.
She even mentions now on my 5th interview with them. It's the day after, and she's in her 5th interview with law enforcement. And this is 2 days before she takes her first polygraph, and she's already had 5 interviews. 5 interviews. I just realized that. 5 interviews. It's strange when you work a case for a long time, but you go over information, how sometimes one little clip or one little sentence or a few words or whatever stand out to you all of a sudden. 5 interviews. I just realized this. 5 interviews with law enforcement on the 5th of June. She's admitting that. And then 2 days later, she's taking a polygraph test. That's crazy.
Terri went on to talk about Kyron's recent behavior. The past 2 weeks, he's been acting really weird, staring off into space. Can't remember anything. Walks into the room and then back out. Stopping to stare and then move on. The doc thinks that he is having many seizures.
Desiree Young, Tony, and Kane have all said they never saw Kyron acting this way in any way, shape, or form. She was trying to convince law enforcement and people that Kyron wandered away from the school. Again, spinning another narrative. Earlier, he was with a man chaperone. There were 300 people in the school. It was chaotic. Now, or his backpack and coat were left in the school. I dropped them off. I took pictures. Now it's something was wrong with him. He must have wandered off. Do you see all these narratives she's spinning within a day of his disappearance, doing anything she can to get the focus off herself? I can't even imagine what those interviews were like in the very beginning.
And I made an appointment on Thursday for next Friday to have him checked out. That contradicts what multiple sources have told K2, that in the days before the science fair, Terri informed Kyron's teacher he had an appointment that day, June 4th. That is why no one expected that he would be in class and why he was marked absent.
That's why Kyron was marked absent. That's why there was no phone call from the school to Terri or to Kane. Like, that's, you know, normal school protocol, was because Terri had told Kyron's teacher that he had a doctor's appointment that day. So when he wasn't there after the science fair, no questions asked, he was marked absent, no protocol was followed. So Kyron is missing for over 6 hours and nobody even knows it. That is huge. A child missing for 6 hours. Had they still followed protocol and Kane gotten a call that Kyron was marked absent, maybe something could have happened. The teacher trusted Terri. Terri was a teacher herself. She was, she was actually mad that Miss Porter got the job that she applied for. Yep. She didn't like Miss Porter because of that. And that's because she has such an ego as well. And, Miss Porter had no reason to believe that Terri Horman, the teacher, the person that comes in and volunteers at the school, who is really involved in school, really involved with taking care of Kyron, was lying to her about a doctor's appointment. She took 2 polygraphs and failed and walked out on another. Yeah, they had to convince her to take the second one. But there was no doctor's appointment. Not one. Let's get out of here. Look for any more information that I feel like I haven't shared recently. It's really hard to continue to share somebody's case that you've been working on for a long time because it's the same information, but it's important for the new people that come in. Oh my gosh, you guys, I just found this. I didn't realize I had it. Look at this. This is the retreat. So she started talking with this woman to get into being able to have those retreats with that wild rebel wellness thing that she's now doing podcasts for, you guys, if you have missed that earlier. For the longest time, we didn't know whether or not, we didn't know about Dee Dee's sexuality. We did know that Desiree had spoken about her being in love with Terri. She only had one boyfriend, and she joins a group of women. And I'm just going to throw this out there now. I don't want anybody talking crap that I'm like trying to say being a lesbian or being gay or whatever is a bad thing. My son is gay and proud of it. Okay. I don't care. That's not at all what I'm saying. But when she joins this retreat is a retreat. It's full of lesbian women. I do not have a problem with that, nor do I have a problem with this wild rebel wellness place, except for the fact, like, do they know who Dee Dee is? So she gets the certificate and learns and becomes a part of this retreat. And this is when we really find out about Dee Dee and her sexuality. She's now more open with the fact that, yeah, she is a lesbian, which even goes more into that fact when Desiree talks about her being in love with Terri. we can actually look at this now and go, oh, wow, okay, yeah, this is true. And yeah, this is just part of the retreat. But here in a second, this goes into prices. I talked about the prices for the retreat and the rooms. This starts, look, pre-retreat intention setting session, $500. And then you can go on for a 5-day all-exclusive transformational retreat. And then it goes into the prices of that, $5,000 in value for a room. Then it goes into continued expert guidance, $3,000, $1,200, $500. I mean, she's banking money doing these retreats, and we already know of one she did in Lincoln City. I mean, we had an admin find out, Google image search like pictures from this house that she posted, because these were the rooms and stuff at this retreat at the beach. This was one of the rooms. This was a $3,000 room a night for a king size bedroom, private room. And then there were queen size bed shared. There's ones with bunk beds, shared room, that you're still paying $2,600 for, $2,500. You're paying that much money to share a room with other people? And this is about the retreat leader, Dede, and she tells her story where she's, you know, again, talking about her bariatric surgery, but at the same time not telling anybody who she is, or the fact that she's been looked at by law enforcement for 15 years for Kyron's disappearance along with Terri Horman, and can't prove where she was for over 4 hours. It makes me sick that her and Terri are in the healthcare system. This is her. This is what she looked like before. That's what she looked like after. And then I think there was some information on the retreat leader that was teaching her how to be like a wellness. Yeah, this is a huge room of everyone that was involved. She's sitting there in the front. And yeah, Mari Williams was somebody in here called it a cult. Hair
You don't get Dede without Terri.
I already played that one earlier, but yeah, I forgot that I even had that. I'm glad I ran into it, because it does. It just kind of proves like the people she's choosing to hang around, it really speaks volumes. She never came out of the closet for the longest time, and I guess she feels comfortable being able to do that. I mean, oh my gosh, and then you have this is Desiree Young talking about the murder for hires.
He basically stopped cooperating, stopped doing interviews. It was about that time that we discovered through the evidence that she had tried to hire 3 different people to kill Kane in the year leading up to Kyron.
Oh.
So many people that follow Kyron's case only thinks there were 1 murder for hire pop, but there was not. There were 3.
I'm speechless. So Terri has tried to hire someone to kill her husband.
3 different people.
3 different people.
Yes.
Not 1, not 2, 3.
Yes.
Before Kyron's disappearance.
Yes. It was a week prior to Kyron going missing, where she had reached out to the 3rd person. It was a landscaper.
A week prior to Kyron's disappearance, she reached out to a third landscaper to get rid of Kyron, or Kane, I mean. And then, yeah, focus shift over on Kyron. Kane was making $14,000 a month. Terri had no job. She wanted Kiara. They had already been talking about a divorce. She thought if she could get rid of Kane, Kyron would go to Desiree. She'd be able to keep Kiara, and she would get the life insurance policy from Kane. That was all her objective. That's what she really wanted to do. But yet she had still been playing, if I can't get rid of Kane, I'll get rid of Kyron, thinking maybe that would settle things in the home and then they could be one great big happy family, or she'd be able to get Kiara, because in Oregon they don't like separating siblings, and she thought because she didn't have a job and because there was siblings that Kane was going to get the baby no matter what. And I don't believe, but I don't know for sure if Dede's with anybody. She stays very private, well, except for now with her podcast.
She reached out to him in a final attempt to see if he would do it for her.
Just 2 weeks later, Kyron's father moves out of the home he shared with Terri Horman, taking his 1-year-old daughter with him. Days later, Coin6 confirms that Terri is a suspect in a murder-for-hire plot. Deputies believe she tried to hire a landscaper to kill her husband.
You could see it in the team. They were ready to go in and arrest her. They were. And when Casey Anthony happened, everything stalled. They backed up. The challenge with the Casey Anthony case was because they charged her before they had Kaylee. And a lot of the evidence in that case was not admissible because of that.
Right.
And that's what scared them.
As to the charge of first-degree murder, verdict as to count 1. We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty, so say we all, dated at Orlando, Orange County, Florida, on this 5th day of July, 2011, signed foreperson. As to the charge of aggravated child abuse, verdict as to count 2. We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty, so say we all, dated at Orlando, Orange County, Florida, this 5th day of July, 2011, signed foreperson.
Yep, Desiree believes that scared the district attorneys away. And none of the district attorneys wanted to move forward on the no-body case of Kyron Horman and circumstantial evidence. But thank God for the new DA. Thank God that there's new evidence taken off of those phones. Photos of Kyron after leaving the school, which proves that Dede Spicher and Terri Horman had something to do with it. I mean, here's an article that we found. Let's see.
Prior to Kyron's disappearance? Yes, she did. Terri is well known to law enforcement. When she was living in Roseburg and with her parents still, she tried to kill her parents by burning down the house.
Just another criminal thing that she did that she got away with, tried to kill her parents in a fire in Roseburg.
Yeah. And law enforcement was going to charge her, except the parents would not follow through. She failed polygraphs. She couldn't answer.
More polygraphs, tests, more lies, more everything. And her parents, they had adopted her when she was a baby. Not her real parents, but they have given her money for attorneys. They have mortgaged their house in order to get that money. They believe that Terri has done no wrong, will never do any wrong, and even though she tried to kill them, still wouldn't move forward to prosecute her on that.
For what had happened, the circumstances were highly questionable.
And then this was in the paper. Garage fire causes $10,500 in damage. A fire in the garage in the home. Hillcrest area, the morning caused about $10,500 worth of damage. The Roseburg Fire Department responded to a 7:38 a.m. call reporting that the fire at 1801 Northwest Selwood Street, 12 firefighters arrived with 2 engines and 1 truck and had the fire under control in about 10 minutes. Firefighters believe the fire started in a 1979 Pontiac Firebird that was in the garage, but the exact cause is still under investigation. Damages limited to the garage, but the car and some of the other contents were completely destroyed. Isn't that crazy? This is just more of my receipts. I always come with receipts that talks about, and here's Terri's response to people accusing her of the fire. Wow, okay. She's reaching a new low. Probably should do your research before running your mouth like you know anything is factual. My parents were in Los Molinos, California, and I was asleep in the house. So not only do I have witnesses from my neighbors, I used one of the phones to call my parents. I mean, if Terri's talking about it, she's self-defensive and denying and doing everything she can. She doesn't like people finding out information about her, that's for sure. So that's her.
And so she had done that, and then there was also a murder for hire plot. She had been sleeping with someone who was...
Oh yeah, that was an early 1998 or 1999 murder for hire plot against one of her ex-boyfriends, where a guy comes out of the bushes in a park when they're on a date together, and yeah, he points a GUN at the guy and then never fires. But Terri told him he was here for you. That was something else that Desiree talked about. We already knew that murder for hire plot. I don't know why that charge never went through, because that was also in Roseburg when she was like a young, I think early 20s or maybe even a teenager. I don't know. Yeah, the 1990 murder for hire plot. Here you go.
Detectives in Roseburg are investigating a murder for hire plot involving Terri Horman.
The crime allegedly occurred decades before Horman's stepson, Kyron Horman, disappeared. But the case is attracting new interest from police.
KGW investigative reporter Kyla Boshi has been working this story for the past month.
Details of this alleged plot have never been made public before. The plot allegedly targeted Terri Horman's then boyfriend. Over the past month, we spoke with him by phone and in person. He declined to go on camera, but on both occasions, the man recounted the same story involving a prison inmate, Terri Horman, and a plan to have him killed.
Police in Roseburg are investigating a decades-old murder for hire plot involving Terri Horman. In an email to KGW, police say the case, quote, will be referred to the DA's office for review in the near future and remains open. The alleged plot unfolded in the summer of 1990, according to Horman's then boyfriend, Sean Ray. He said the young couple was having a picnic at a park in Roseburg when a strange man came after him with a gun. He came out of the bushes, explained Ray. Then Terri said, he's here for you. Ray said he took off, no shots were fired, and he didn't report the incident to police. At that point, I was like, did that really happen? Said Ray. He broke up with Horman and moved out of town. The two never reconnected. But in 2011, police unexpectedly contacted Ray about his old girlfriend. Multnomah County investigators were looking into her missing stepson. Kyron Horman disappeared on June 4, 2010 from Skyline School in Northwest Portland. The second grader has never been found. Ray said that Multnomah County investigators informed him that a prison inmate had confessed to taking part in a murder for hire plot decades ago in Roseburg. The unnamed inmate.
Can you believe all of this is happening in 2017? Okay, 7 years after Kyron disappears, some inmate in a prison starts talking about how he was hired to kill one of Terri's boyfriends. That's how all this information gets found out. That's how they find Terri's ex-boyfriend, talk to him. He's livid that they haven't gone after Terri for this.
It independently provided specific details that matched Ray's account, said the former boyfriend. In 2011, Ray said detectives drove him back to Roseburg to identify the park where the incident allegedly occurred. He said he also testified before a grand jury in Multnomah County. Ray, who did not want to appear,
They flew him to Multnomah County so that he could talk to the grand jury. So his testimony about his own, Terri's ex-boyfriend, not Kane, his own murder for hire plot against him can be used when Kyron's case moves forward. Do you guys see what I mean when I say Multnomah County Sheriff's Office wants to go after Terri with everything they possibly can so that she cannot walk? Why? Because she keeps walking away for everything she damn does. She's getting away with everything. They're not going to let that happen. There's so much. I mean, if you think of everything that just I've shown you today and then think like I probably have a thousand other, well, we have hundreds. Let me think. I won't say hundreds of thousands, but I'll say at least 1,500 to 2,500, if not more, screenshots of Terri Horman talking. All of the videos that I have, all of the news, early news stuff that had came out and everything, and you start piecing together everything in this huge layered case. Just what I'm showing you today, the evidence that Desiree talks about now. There's so much that they have, although circumstantial, that they're going to be able to go after Terri and Dede for. And now that you get the BAU and the FBI involved to go over the entire case, what else are they going to come up with? Is anybody out there watching this case that knows something, now knows the FBI is involved in the BAU, thinking, oh my God, maybe I better say something? Maybe I should give a tip. Have they gave that tip? We don't know. We're not privy to that information. How much is coming out now that they're really going through the entire case again? They will find more information. And I don't believe that everything's circumstantial either.
on camera, said he's frustrated that police and prosecutors in Roseburg haven't gone after Terri Horman.
Could the DA still prosecute this case even though it happened years and years ago?
Yes, there's no statute of limitations in Oregon on basically any kind of murder-related crime. And so, if the alleged incident occurred, it...
See, and that's another thing that nobody understands either. Because this was a murder for hire, there's no statutes of limitations. They can go after Terri for the one against her ex-boyfriend in 1990. They can go against her for all three of the murder for hires on Kane. It's all being wrapped up in Kyron's case. I don't know how they tied like ex-boyfriend from 1990 though into Kyron's case, only that it proves character of Terri, because we also know that Joseph Cristobal was also asked, which is Terri's ex-boyfriend from California, was also asked to hurt the advocate that works for Desiree Young, Stacey Green. Yes. She even tried to do like a murder for hire type thing with an advocate for Kyron. But we're all here today because it's Kyron Horman's birthday. Now, I could have done a live and I could have, just, how do I put it? I could have done a live and I could have just talked about Kyron, what Kyron likes, the colors that he likes, and everything else. It's been 15 frustrating years. 15 very frustrating years. And Kyron is still missing. Justice has not been served, although I really do think justice is coming. I thought it was more important to talk about Kyron.
Thought that maybe the picture had been taken before.
Whoa. Sorry, you guys. I forgot that this is the one picture that I had that Desiree is talking about this picture, because Terri tries to lie about the time that she took the picture, and Desiree comes out and says, no, it's time stamped. We know for a fact it was taken at 8:45, right before they walk out of the school. So Terri had a picture to use for her alibi all day long as she's running into people. But back to what I was saying. I wanted to talk about Kyron's case, where it's headed, and I wanted to talk about Dede and Terri, the two people responsible for Kyron's disappearance and his death, the two women that took Kyron away from his family. And he's 23 years old today. And although maybe sharing him in a different light, sharing pictures and everything else would have really been remembering Kyron, because it's such an old case and because so many new people come in. When I do a lot, well, not a lot of people, but a few people, new people that I just hope would see what I'm showing and show the receipts, show everything that I've learned about Kyron's case, and teach them, no, there are people out there walking around getting away with what they've done to Kyron. Law enforcement knows it, and they're fixing it. The new DA has said that he's working on Kyron's case. Here's what Nathan Vasquez said.
Here at K2 News, and coming on here to talk to you about the Kyron Horman case. We're just a few weeks away from the 15-year anniversary from when Kyron went missing at Skyline Elementary School. Well, now the Multnomah County District Attorney's Office is saying they're taking a closer look at the case. I want to read you guys a statement that I got from Nathan Vasquez this morning. Take a listen. I want to reaffirm my continued commitment to this case. When I met with Desiree Young as the incoming district attorney, I assured her that open communication would be a priority. My office has begun a thorough and methodical review of the case with fresh eyes. This is a painstaking process involving tens of thousands of pages of reports, records, and other evidence. We have a dedicated team assigned to the case, and I'm now being regularly briefed on its current status and what steps may follow.
Nathan Vasquez promised Desiree Young he was going to work on Kyron's case. He's working on Kyron's case. There's new eyes on Kyron's case. They're compiling all of the case together to send it to the FBI and the BAU for further investigation to get even more eyes on the case. Meanwhile, there are several law enforcement agencies in Oregon working on Kyron's case. He's not messing around. Nathan Vasquez means business. And then Nathan Vasquez has his own people in his own office looking at this case. He's being updated as things are brought to him, new things may be brought to light. And he has said that he's going to come out. He's going to update us again on Kyron's case. My admin said it was going to be September. I thought he said fall, but if it comes soon, we'll definitely be talking about it. Kyron Horman's been missing since June 4th, 2010. He came up missing at his school's science fair. He was with his stepmother at the time, Terri Horman, now Terri Vasquez. She lives in Clear Lake, California. And it has been said by Desiree that Dede killed Kyron for Terri, that Dede's involvement caused Kyron's demise. In my personal opinion, I believe it. I believe Desiree wholeheartedly when she talks about everything in Kyron's case. I believe everything that's written in the book. She has no reason to lie. And she would look like an idiot, you guys. She would look like a complete idiot because she's teaching law enforcement. She's teaching CARTS teams. She is advocating for other missing people and children all over the United States. She flies and goes to all these places. She goes to Crime Fest to talk about Kyron's case and to talk about other cases. How could she put out information that's untrue without looking like an idiot? She would be called out by law enforcement and nobody would trust her. And then she wouldn't be teaching law enforcement. She wouldn't be teaching the cards teams. She wouldn't be doing any of those things, right? Kyron Horman's stepmother has lied and connived. She lied about where she was and what she was doing. She was missing for up to 4 hours and no one knows where she was except for the very few places in the beginning of the day and the one place, the gym, before going home at the end of the day. Dede Spicher, her accomplice, also missing during the same unaccounted time, then later shows up at work. They've been looking for you. Where have you been? I've been here the whole time. Well, she had plans to go eat lunch with her employee and the employees, right? She was invited there to go to the first time. Why didn't she show up for lunch? Had she actually been there, even though she didn't hear them calling for her, why didn't she go in for lunch with everybody? Why did Dede Spicher leave her phone in the car? And why did Terri Horman have her phone on her? So Terri Horman could run around all these rural areas with her phone, pinging everywhere with her cell phone. And meanwhile, Dede Spicher is doing whatever she's doing with Kyron Horman without a phone, without anybody being able to ping her anywhere, but yet using a burner phone to communicate with Terri Horman. Burner phones she thought she had destroyed. Burner phones she later took law enforcement to because she thought she destroyed them. And for years, law enforcement had these phones, but new technology came out and was able to find pictures of Kyron on the phone after, or on those burner phones after the school. Communication between the two of them, Dede and Terri, on the phone. Phones Dede Spicher thought for sure she had destroyed. And now it's all coming full circle to bite them both in the ass. Not going to get away with it. Thank God technology continuously gets better and better and better. And we know it. And that's why people get caught 50, 60 years later, right? Because technology keeps growing. Kyron Horman will get justice. I believe that even though Dede Spicher has immunity, it will be taken away. I believe that her and Terri will go down for this. They will be charged with something. You know, Desiree has said, I don't even care at this point if she even spends a minute in prison talking about Terri, because she just wants her son back. She wants to be able to lay Kyron to rest. She just wants to know what happened. I don't want Terri and Dede out running around anymore. I want them arrested. Of course she wants them arrested and put behind prison before they hurt anybody else. But she would rather know where her son is all I'm trying to say. And these two women, for the past 15 years, have really thought that they were getting away with something. But you heard it earlier in this live. Dede Spicher, when she was talking in her Wild Rebel Wellness podcast, obviously has some kind of guilt for something that she has done. She is trying to put together the pieces, thinking about her future, thinking about her past, what she has done. If you came in late, go back and listen. But she is teaching people, having people on her show during these podcasts. These people probably do not have a clue who she is. And she's their wellness coach. And she's making thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Scamming, pretending to be somebody she's actually really not, because you're a monster, Dede, and you cannot be teaching wellness to other people if you're a murderer of a 7-year-old boy. You cannot. And I'm coming after you hardcore, Dede. This isn't the end. You think I have come after you before? I have always known you were the monster. Although Terri got you to do what you did, I've always known there was a special kind of evil in you. And I am coming after you. I am about to ruin your life. Mark my words. Sue me, do whatever it is you want to do. You will not run and hide. You will not be able to continue a wellness program for people and take advantage of them and their weakness and take their money and everything when they do not know who you are. They will all find out who you are if it's the last thing I do. I swear it. Please, if you have any information about Kyron's whereabouts, Kyron or Terri Horman or Dede Spicher, anything, please, please, please contact Multnomah County Sheriff's Office, tip line 503-988-0560. Again, the tip line phone number is 503-988-0560. Kyron will get justice, and I will not stop. I am a very determined person. I will never stop. I just won't. It's not in me. I will continue to advocate for Kyron, for Michael. I will not let up on these suspects. It's just not going to happen. They think they're getting away with things, but they're not. Right? A child killer, a wellness coach, incredible. How the hell could she be even getting These people have no clue who she is, obviously. Even the retreat leader that helped her through her retreat, she ended up shutting down things that they had posted about Dede Spicher. Thank God we're always on track with taking screenshots and screen recordings of everything that we can use later on, because she didn't want that information out. But guess what? The woman at that retreat center for the Wild Rebel Wellness still keeps her going in that retreat, even though she knows about Dede Spicher. But they need to all come over here and listen to me talk about those burner phones and the evidence that was found on them. And then maybe, just maybe, more people will start paying attention, because I'm just pissed that she's running a podcast and taking advantage of people and taking their money and doing all of this stuff. Yeah, where does she put child killer on her resume, right? I just learned about these podcasts today. I am so aggravated and pissed off about it. It's so very overwhelming for me, because usually I feel like I'm so on top of my game and I know everything, but she's been doing these podcasts for months. I've just had some really weird, like, crazy posts coming in from random people in my group lately with information that I'm just like, where did you find that? I didn't find that. My admin didn't find it. We've been doing research on this case for God knows how long, and we don't stop. We don't stop researching ever. We're always researching. Even if I'm taking a break here on YouTube, doesn't mean I'm not still researching things, right? So I'm just like, whoa, wait a minute. Where'd this come from? And then I'm looking into it. You know, there's 16 podcasts that Dede has done. And then the one we showed today where she's talking about guilty for things she's done in the past. Like, what else is being said on those podcasts? And if she watches this, let's just see if all those podcasts stay up. Because even if she blocks me, I will still be able to watch all of her videos. Hear that, Dede? Block me. I won't be able to come in and comment or watch any of your podcasts during the time you put them up if you're doing them live, but I can still watch all of your videos. I'm still going to be able to screen record anything I want. And I tell you what, you'll never be able to catch up to my admin Heidi, because she is probably already screenshotted or screen recorded God knows how much information just in this time that I have been here doing this live. It's insane, you guys. Carly. Thank you, Sam, for everything you do and time spent trying to find Kyron, get him justice, and keep his name out here. I absolutely will. I absolutely will. And thank you so much for your kind words. I really appreciate you being here. I appreciate everybody being here. I'm sorry that I wasn't going through the comments a lot. It's just when you're talking about Kyron, if I don't have a plan for my live and I am just going over bits and pieces of information, I just got to keep going with the flow. I didn't really have time to come in and I was looking at all of your comments. I wasn't talking about them or answering questions too much. Sorry for that, but it just gets so super busy. Hair curlers and crime. Oh, she is making cash off of her. That is why she hasn't pulled her off wellness group. Exactly. But she'll will remove any of the posts because everybody was coming in there like, why do you have a child murderer, in your wellness group? Well, yeah, she's making money. It's almost like that pyramid scheme shit. I mean, this is kind of what all of this is. These people over here are paying to do this. These other people are paying to do that. They're the ones teaching her how to do the retreat. So every time she does a retreat and rents out rooms and everything else, they get a percentage. Anybody else that comes to those retreats, Dede Spicher is trying to get them to do their own retreat. Then she starts making money off of that. You know what I mean? Those pyramid schemes, they just grow and grow. More people you can get in it, the more money you're going to make. Yeah. Look up that Marley. I mean, she got money. Okay. And a huge group of women doing these retreats and stuff. Yes, thank you for a fantastic job you are doing. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here, Bitter Tea. I love the flow. It's so informational and easy to listen. So important too. Oh, thank you. Lori Oliver, again, thank you for coming back. I can vouch for that. They found me. Don't forget, Dede mentioned betrayal too. Yes, and I mean, Terri went as far as even, Sam, just make a sock account. Bless your heart. What is a sock account? Oh, I did several. I made a couple of fake accounts because she can do whatever she wants to do. She ain't keeping any in. She's going to have to delete all those damn posts if she don't want that shit out there. Guarantee you that. Guarantee you that. I mean, Stacy Green, she has over 50,000 members on her page that all follow Kyron. I only have like close to 6,000 or maybe a little over 6,000 in my Facebook group. But those people over there on World Soldiers Facebook group, they go crazy. They'll be in there harassing her in comment section. Dede is going to have to be either deleting them or she's going to have to start deleting her podcast. And that one, other place she's involved with where she was giving testimony and stuff, they've already taken down some of her videos now that people came in and did comments. I understand sometimes that, harassment can get whatever, but she could sue me. I don't even care. What is the name of her podcast again? It is let's just go over it. Let's see. Let's go over. It is Wild Rebel Wellness. I thought about subscribing, and then the description, and here it's I'm Dede, National Board Certified Health Wellness Coach and Murderer is what it should say. Retreat leader and murderer, and a proud bariatric surgery success story and a murderer. In 2018, I had a life-changing decision to undergo vertical sleeve gastronomy after I killed Kyron Horman. I'm really not making a joke of people like I'm sick of it. If I would have subscribed to her, I would have been able to tag her. And I really, really, really thought about it. And I might do it later. But yeah, that's where she's at. Go over in the comment section. Let everybody know what she's done. Ask her where Kyron is. It sounds like Dede is starting to live in her own kind of prison. The walls will only close in harder on her, and she won't be able to stop it. Handle it. No. It's just really weird to me that she has stayed quiet. Stayed so quiet for so many years. Has her ego really gotten so big that she, that she thinks she's so untouchable that she can just like use a public platform, on such a large platform here on YouTube, to start doing podcasts for herself? I mean, that's just more money, right? I start doing podcasts, I start getting people subscribed to me, I'll be able to become monetized, and I can make even more money. It's all money to her and Terri. But I'm flabbergasted that she has came out publicly like this. She knows damn well that me or Stacy would eventually find her, because people give us information all the time about her. We would find out eventually. So the fact that she's out there doing podcasts is just a big middle finger to us. Like, ha ha, look what we're doing. Look what I'm doing. I'm going to do it no matter what. She is pure friggin' evil. I can't stand her. She bothers me more than Terri, honestly. Both women are guilty in the count of public opinion. That has to weigh on someone, and it should. They will have no peace. They have had no peace. Like I said, Terri Horman is driving 26 miles away to go to another Safeway that's not in Clear Lake, California, where she lives. She's driving all the way to Lakeport to even go shopping, because when she lived in Roseburg before she moved to California, she had so much heat on her by Desiree and Stacy. People taking pictures of her, following her, asking where Kyron was on her Facebook, anywhere she went, any place she thought if she moved down to California, nobody was going to be able to do anything. And then they found her. Stacy and Desiree has been toward the front of her house just this last September, in front of her house in Clear Lake, California, going live, asking her outside of her house where Kyron was. They did the same thing at Dede Spicher's house. I mean, before the new district attorney came, Desiree was also outside the old district attorney's office asking him to do something, because this new evidence had came forward and he wasn't doing anything. He was barely prosecuting any murders, rapes, or anything like that in Oregon as it was. He was not taking the hard cases. And it's been our problem since Kyron disappeared. The police can do their job. They can collect the evidence and the footage and everything. It's sad that they didn't compile all the information correctly. That's whatever. But ultimately, it comes down to a district attorney to take the case, to put the case together, to hand it over to a judge and do something about it. And that just wasn't done. Because, in my opinion, they were wusses. None of the district attorneys wanted to touch it because it was a nobody. All right, you guys. I'm going to get off here. 503-988-0560 if you have any tips whatsoever about Kyron Horman. Thank you guys all for joining. Thank you, my mods, for coming in. OMG, Bitter Tea, do it. Do it. You can message me through Messenger or email me. Message me through Messenger. Samantha Brainerd is my name. And you can find me on Kyron Horman Case Revisited on Facebook. Let me know all about it. But I can guarantee you Terri Horman supporters and Dede supporters are here, saw me, saw this, and they'll eventually find out. But hey, why not? Oh. Can YouTube be red flagged about Dede and Terri? I don't know. I don't know. I know I don't get in any trouble for talking about what I talk about here. It's all public information. But all right, guys. Thank you, Lori Oliver, for being here. Bitter Tea, Beverly, Hair Curlers in Crime. Thank you for showing up tonight. Thank all the moderators for doing such a wonderful job. Carly, so many people have already left. Sarah Suspicious is here. Avi came in. Hey, babe, I didn't even see you. Nice to see you, Avi. Love you. We had a great conversation yesterday for hours. Thank you so much. Ashley, thank you for coming in. Thank you. Kyron Horman's 23rd birthday is today. He has missed out on 15 years. 15 years. McSporn, it was so good to see you. I have missed you guys so much. Pretty Assessor, if you're here, thank you so much for coming in. You are amazing. I have missed you guys so much. I'm looking forward. Oh, and there you are, Dawn in the house. Ranks up there with Mommy. Adelson, yeah. Dawn mentioned to me the other day that she missed me. She was looking forward to another live. I'm so glad to see you here. Beverly Lawyer, if I didn't already say, let me see who else is here. So many people. Thank you guys for coming in, for supporting Kyron, for being the best chat on the YouTube streets, for being part of my family now, my YouTube family. Again, share Kyron, share his flyers, share his stories, share lives, share. Thank you guys so much for being here. I love you. Have a good night.